That's why Anthony. All right, you found out what's going on. Hit the wrong button, but that I'll do it all over again. We'll rewind it a little bit. All right, welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, as we continue on here in our Sunday morning tradition that does continue into now our 17th season here on the Couch Potato Sports Show, bringing it to you in and week out. And since he's here, let's bring him on in. Yes, you're the three and a half years you've been muffling along with us here on this show. About 3.5. Don't start that crap. Don't start that crap. He does this crap. Whenever I have audio problems, he starts screwing it around after I get it right. And I came this close to falling for it. I took my headphones out because I was doing something else and I needed the plug-in. So that's the reason why mine's all jacked up. How you doing? Hey, good morning. Hey, this is our premier off-season show. So it's like our premiere for our off-season NFL. So,
man, I'm glad I'm here because I've been sick all week and just kind of getting rid of the flu right now. And I mean, things are good. Dallas up 50,000 points. I mean, it's, we got all sorts of fun stuff going on. Right? I've had so much fun with ChatGPT, which I
know. I mean, you've been filling. Not that I'm complaining. I pretty much everything that you put up just kind of makes me laugh, or I look at it, look at something in a different look. So coming up with this one, and you're the comedian. You made this up yourself.
Yeah, that's true though. Danny White was a punter / quarterback for the Cowboys when they won the Super Bowl against the Broncos, and of course, Tony Romo never played it in the Super Bowl, but he's called it. And there's poor Dak. He's put up better numbers than both those two players. Just to get over the hump. So
I noticed how you didn't have Troy Aikman in that one.
Because he's won Super Bowl.
Because he won. That's right.
But the thing is, Dak can go one of two ways, right? He can go by way of Robert Staubach or go by way of Danny White.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He's on that Danny White trajectory right now. So, I mean, Romo was on there.
Almost anybody doesn't even know who Danny White is. I mean, because but everybody forgets about the teams that were not Super Bowl champions in the 90s and the early 2000s. So,
yeah, because no one ever remembers the loser, right? They always remember the winner. And that's just, I mean, when years go by, people are going to say, yeah, the Seahawks won. Who'd they play? The Patriots, maybe?
I know Danny White also from indoor football. He was the indoor football coach, here for there's, if I'm not mistaken, there's and won a championship there. So he got his championship outside of the NFL, but at least he got the championship. I'm sure he's pretty. I got mine somewhere around here. I got my Hall of Fame ring. Once you get the ring, you kind of feel like part of a group. So
Yeah, that's called a marriage, sir.
Yeah, well, then I've had 3 of them, so it's amazing. So, but
I mean, the thing is that with Danny White, I mean, I remember going to Texas Stadium, watching him in 1983 getting booed out of the damn stadium. He was putting up serviceable numbers. He was one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. But because they just couldn't seem to get past the Redskins at that time, I mean, they beat the Skins early in the year, but that second time they played, second to the last game of the season, they lost to them big time. That's where the no Danny no thing came in, and then of course 84 hit, and everybody wanted Gary Hugman to play, except for me.
Absolutely,
I'm sitting there going, "You do not want that." So I'm telling you right, you do not want that. And I'm like, 9. What do I know? So Hookman comes in. He's the quarterback for like the first 6 or 7 weeks, and it was a Monday night game against the Saints. And Landry had seen enough. He benched Huggaboom. Danny White came in, took him back, brought him back to win in overtime. And that was the one time I got to see Kenny Stabler play. And as bad as Stabler was in that game, he was still able to, put a whooping on the Cowboys until the Cowboys came back and beat him with the defense. So
well, Stabler. I mean, if you don't see Stabler and know Stabler the way that he is, and watch him week in and week out, during the time, and we were little kids at the time. Stabler was, well, I'm a little bit older than you, but I was a little kid. I was into football, but not as much as am now, as we'll look at every portion of the game and break it down. When you're a kid, you're just watching it.
I mean, back then you were only subjected to who was your home team. You didn't have the internet. You didn't have a lot of things to go off of. As far, I mean, you have these books about these certain teams you can read, but those histories only come to a certain point. And like I'd read all about the Redskins. As much as I didn't like that team, at least I knew who they were. They were enemy number one for me. And because guys like Joe Theismann and John Riggins and guys like that were thorns in my side as a fan. And I can remember in the 1985 season, and it's actually on YouTube. You can catch it. It was Joe Theismann's birthday, and it was the home opening game for the Dallas Cowboys against the Washington Redskins. And every time Joe Theismann threw an interception, he threw like 7 or 8 or something like that night. Every time he threw an interception, the entire crowd would sing "Happy Birthday" to Joey. It was so funny because we're all just, the Cowboys won 44-14 that game, and it was an ass whipping to say the least. And that's back when rivalries were rivalries. That's back when. I know we have certain parts of that in the NFL now, but with free agency being what it is, tearing teams apart and certain players playing with other teams, kind of get away from the rivalry thing, because now, fantasy football also is taken away from rivalries too, because now you might have a player that you have on your team that you would never cheer for because he's on that team, but you got to have him get the points you got to have to be. Same thing with our pick'em league. I'm not a big Eagles or Redskins or for Commanders fan, but if I think they can beat over so and so, I'm gonna pick them. So that's the pick'em champion that I am. So the 2-time. So
Well, sometimes I let my hatred for a team affect my pick. That bothers me. Some of the when you see it, it's just like I can't stand that. Can't stand that guy.
And things. There's a lot of times I hear you try to explain it, and you kind of going, as much as I hate the Dallas Cowboys, as much as I hate the so and so, as much as I'm like, well, never mind that. Who's going to win? It comes for our pick 'em league. It comes down to who's going to win. We can sit here and pull for the Cowboys all I want to, but I want the trophy. Damn it! That's what I want. So, so it's just. That's what makes our league fun. And that's why. We bring in all these different people to be a part of it, and some last, some don't, and we have a lot of shit talkers in our group that they come on this show and shit talk.
Yeah, that's
the
what
OBs
we do. I was talking to someone about the show because and I was like, listen. When we do our shows, it's just like a bunch of buddies sitting in a bar, just having the time. That's what, at least that's what I see the show.
If only we would all start drinking that early in the morning. I'm sure Cuervo does, but if we start drinking early in the morning, like it was a bar, can you picture how bad the arguments would be between you and I? Oh my God!
Oh yeah.
They get pretty brutal as is. But
yeah, it's really interesting as far as what the show is and what is done and what we have done to it. Over the years, whether it be the first 5 years, getting started, getting rolling, and then I have the first show and I cringe every time I listen to it. I'm like, oh my god, how bad was that? But over the time, it's more of a flow more so than most sports shows have a method, and they have we don't do that. We just go off on what we think that we want to talk about week in and week out. And that's all that's at least as far as what the show is to me. Now, the show can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, as far as what they do, when they do, and why they do it. Not me, I don't care. So, whether the sponsors and everything, they come wonderful. If they don't want, I don't care. We're going to be here on Sunday doing our show because that's just what I like to do. And this time, right now, I really enjoy the portion of what we do, um, you know, in the off season. This is one of my favorite times to speak about sports because we get outside of football. During football season, we really don't have a lot of time. We're talking football because that's what we do. But like today, as far as what we got going on the show, I like to look at what we got lined up. So what I kind of want to do is talk about the wrestling portion, the first portion of this show. And I guess maybe since they made the switch from what do you call it? Peacock over to ESPN. Now you've got that package. Now I have an ESPN package, but not the one that has it.
Right.
Because I found another outlet to watch what I want to watch without having to pay the nonsense, and I still get to see it when I want to, because that I very rarely watch it live, even the premium shows, unless I know we're going to come on and talk about it. I'll find a way of doing it. But that having been said, I found, and now I don't have to pay the extra because that's all I would pay for. So, but what I think I have found, and I want you to give me your take up on Triple H and the new regime coming in as far as wrestlers. Because I'm looking at the new wrestlers that are coming in, and I have to admit I'm not excited about them. Am I the only one that feels that way? Have they gotten enough of a push slowly, or in my opinion, is it too fast? Because we're not hearing about a lot of these guys before they do this. They normally bring them in on the PLEs and slowly introduce them to you, maybe get a match here and there, but now they're just showing up. So, and I don't know who they are. Now I know who Joe Hendry is because I watched the other brand. I watched TNA on AMC. In which, by the way, I think they need to take the general manager or the owner, whoever that guy is, the guy with the, and get him completely out. He's horrible. Outside of that, I love the wrestling portion of it. Although Mickie James really does need to take off those high heels because she's not able to maneuver whatever she's trying to do in them. That bothers me. But the new regime coming in, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Are they being pushed too much where we're not hearing about them very much? Last one, I can't remember his name, but I'd heard of him because they had worked him in there slowly and did it this last time. I'll remember his name, but is that what's happening in your eyes?
Well, the way I look like this, when I saw Uba Fimby take on Cody Rhodes on Saturday Night's Main Event a couple months ago during the John Cena last show, I looked at that guy and I said, now I don't follow NXT, because NXT is a good way to get an idea of who's coming up. Okay.
Right.
And
they're on CW on Wednesdays, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and if you're not really a P1 of CW or NXT, all this is relatively new to all of us. So I'm not, because I normally work Wednesdays, and I know who the names are, but I don't really know,
right?
What they do. I saw Uba Fimby come out in his match with Cody, and he looked like the kind of guy that Vince McMahon would sit there and go, God damn, pal, that's gonna be our guy. And then I saw him show up at the Rumble. Have such an impressive start with the Rumble. He's the second guy to the ring. He tossed out Braun Breaker immediately. And then, of course, one by one, they were going in and out. And I even told the guys on Offshoots TV, I said, guys, Brock's going to get him out because that's going to be the matchup you're going to want to see. Now, there's talk now that WrestleMania is penciled in with Brock Lesnar and LA Knight. That makes no sense. I'm sure that might change. It depends what they do with Oompa Fembe, because I think that guy, he's just almost as green as Lesnar. Because I say Lesnar's green because he doesn't do a lot in the ring. He does what he's good at, and that's it. Oompa is the same way, so I don't know if we're going to.
Would you call Greenberg green then too, or Greenberg? I'm sorry, Goldberg green. Would you call Goldberg
very much so,
green?
Very much so, because because he had not been in the ring for a very long time. His smooth set was very limited. They gave him, we need 3 minutes out of you back in the day. When he came to WWE back in the early 2000s and tried to go 15, 20 minutes, he was gassed. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that was not what he was built for. When he came back to take on guys like Lesnar, he was not built to go. Either was Lesnar. They're not built to be. I mean, they can stand around for 8 minutes and do a few big moves and kind of stand around and pose. That's one thing. But to work a match and to have that kind of win, they don't have that. So Oompa has that because he's been constantly working. He's worked at TNA. He's worked at NXT. He's done a lot of different things back and forth. So I do think that he is going to be the next big thing to come through there and take on the form that last big thing they had there. Lesnar would make a lot more sense. These new guys coming in, I think they should either do away with the roster draft and have each of these shows only draft guys from NXT. Don't let them draft from show to show to show, because those guys can interchange all they want. WWE has become kind of what UFC and boxing has become. You don't see the same guys on TV every single week. You don't have been on matches every single week for sure. And it's good for their bodies, but it's bad for their in-ring stuff. Their bodies aren't calloused enough to where they used to take the bumps and the bruises all the damn time, night in, night out. Now it's kind of like, okay, here's my next wrestling dates on this day. The next one's going to be further down here. So in between time, you're at home, you're doing PR stuff for WWE, you're doing all this other crazy stuff, but you're not having your body get the pounding like it used to keep you going. That's good. Yeah. Well, that didn't work out well for him, did it? He pulled his hernia out. He had hernia surgery after he tore up a desk. But yeah, those guys and girls are, that's, they've leaned more towards the wrestling than they have the characters.
Right.
And well, that's good in some sense. We saw this as Soar, like a lot of guys are always about, who the best athlete was. Dante Smiley was definitely, the hardest working athlete out there. But who got over more? Dean Fleming. Dean Fleming did not look like, the best athlete in the world. But his gimmick was great.
Right.
And it worked. And I would tell guys who I'd be aligned with, I'm like, guys, they don't give a fuck about your wrestling. The crowd will not give a shit. They'll care more about your personality than they will about your wrestling. But
I wonder why. I wonder why and when that changed. Because you and I both know at one time it was about the wrestling.
I think UFC had a lot to do with it.
I think you're right.
Because they're seeing these guys making people tap out and making everybody, do these fantastic moves to make people just say, I quit. That became a big part of it. But it takes away from the pro wrestling aspect of telling a story, Not every match needs to be I quit. If you're a submission, look, the bad thing about submission wrestlers is you're boring. You're relatively boring. Bret Hart, as great of a champion as he thinks he was boring to watch. I know some people will sit there and go, I love how he was technical wrestler. Yeah, if he was in the ring with a guy like Mr. Perfect, he was great. But you put him in the ring with a guy like, Kamala, not so much,
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, so Bret Hart worked for the time that he worked. But then when he quit working, I'm sorry. I mean, that hits him harder than a Goldberg kick to the head anytime. Because while Goldberg may have quote unquote ended his career was going nowhere in WCW, let alone in WWE. So,
yeah,
you can blame one guy for your falls all you want. The fact is that if people are leaving you come to the ring and people say, now's a good time to get a hot dog. You're not over anymore. I remember WrestleMania 17. I'm there at the actual Stadium of the Astrodome. It was China and versus Ivory with girls and with a mixed tag type thing involved or whatever it was. And I'm like, okay, we'll get something to eat. So I didn't care. And back then, women wrestling wasn't what women wrestling is today. And I mean, there are times in shows where there are lulls. There used to be a time, and this, wrestling was always about the first match, but built to the second match, to the third match, to the fourth, and on. Now you start off really hot in the first match, right? You have the best match you're ever going to see, and then it starts to tail off a little bit, and it goes match 2, match 3 brings it up a little bit, but not much. Then you go back down, match 4, match 5 goes back up, then comes back down, match 6. Then main event time, you got to go all the way back there, right? So WWE is doing it right, where they don't have like 4 or 5 matches on a big show now, because leave them having don't burn them out with so like AEW has like 10 matches in one night, right? And so can you remember what happened to match 2 compared to match 8? Probably not.
Right.
Whereas WWE is like, well, they only 5 matches, so I mean, I remember this, and oh yeah, and that one too, and that was it. And to me, that leaves the fans wanting more, which is something wrestling has gotten away from. Always,
two night WrestleManias, I mean, kind of makes that.
But it works because while you have the first half of that show on the first night, and you're going, wow, what else are they going to do to follow that up? Maybe they'll do well with it, maybe they won't, but they'll give you something that's going. I always say pro wrestling is the best bang for your buck. Back when bucks were a lot cheaper, but but I mean, when you go to a boxing match, the fight can be over in 10 seconds. You go to a UFC fight, match can be over in 3 seconds. If you go to a football game, that can be a dud automatically. If you go to a baseball game, you can be sitting there waiting for one run to get on the score. Hockey, I guess, would probably be the equivalent to wrestling, because you're back and forth with the puck and everything else. But I don't watch, so I don't know. Basketball, back and forth, that's all well and good. But if your team sucks like the Mavericks do right now, do you care? I mean, you're kind of wanting to see the other team come in there with their players.
Right.
Whereas for wrestling, you have your good guys, your bad guys, your favorites, your not so favorites, and then you're going to be entertained for a good 2 to 3 hours, regardless of who's on the thing. And even on the independent wrestling scene, how many times have you and I call matches and we sit there and go, "Oh, we just saw it. It was actually, it filled up our night, And kudos to those boys and girls that are out there doing their thing at the sword. I applaud them for doing what was being asked them to do. Sometimes they weren't doing it, but then obviously we had a boss for that. But it was a lot. I mean, the thing is, if you're a fan, and the one thing I hate about pro wrestling more than anything else is how much fans think they know. How much you will sit there and read all the stuff online. I will go in there and read all stuff and think I know what's going on backstage. I don't really. I'm not in those meetings. Dave Meltzer, for all people, is not in those meetings. How he's getting any information, I have no idea. But I mean, he's not there to be in and say, okay, Triple H, now you're gonna have Brock Lesnar and LA Knight at WrestleMania. Why would you do that? He's not there doing that. Maybe he's just throwing that out there. I don't know.
Well, that show that they're doing, what's
Unreal?
it called?
Unreal.
Yeah, Unreal. You kind of get an idea of how all that's coming to it. Now, granted, it's only the surface of what those meetings are, because they have 2 or 3 meetings a day. All right, and we get 10 we get about a minute to 2 minute spiel on what you see.
And all of a sudden, oh my God, I know how the wrestling business works.
Yeah.
How many times did you and I sit there before a show at SOAR? We sit there and just bullshit with each other for about a good hour or so. Mm-hmm. We build that camaraderie with each other, because when we got ready to go into showtime, I had the opposite effect in Texas Pro Wrestling with the other guy, and he wouldn't talk to me at all until time for show. Then we had no chemistry, and chemistry is important when you're trying to carry a show, especially when you're talking about a show that nobody knows.
Or tell a story. Same thing with the wrestlers. The wrestlers need to be kind of like we were, but at the same time understanding that there is a different motivation of what we were doing compared to what they were doing. Their motivation, our motivation was never to move up to be, on Raw or on a Super Show. We just wanted to have a good time and do it. These guys were, trying to move up and do it. So the time that it takes for us to do what we were doing, all we needed was that 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, whatever time I got off work to the show. And they head over and when we finally met. But that time for what we were doing was adequate. Sometimes I wonder, and I understand and I get the business of the independents that they don't get that time. But in order to have a good show, I think that camaraderie they burn, the chemistry, knowing what someone's going to do isn't good. And I've seen it. So this is not what I think I know. It's what I know is that they take 5 minutes. Some of the performers take 5 minutes before they're about ready to go out there and try to put on a show with that 5-minute meeting beforehand. And it's never as good as it could be as if they took some time before to get there. So the motivation of what the wrestlers were doing compared to obviously what we were doing are a lot different because of the safety measures and things of that sort. Never mind trying to tell a story and they're trying to wrap that up in a 5-minute thing before they get into the ring. It never works.
Well, like the thing I always looked at was the best commentary team in the DFW area was at one time Cody Cox and Kyle Davis at MPX, and back when PCW was going strong. And I got to watch them do their thing together at Pro Wrestling Religion, and my goal was always be at their level, at least attempt to, because those guys were so great. So, and Cody Cox, a great play-by-play guy that he was, had to compete with Kyle Davis, who was the Bobby Heenan of the group, of the two. So, my idea was I didn't know what their actual wrestling connections were going from back then. How much do they really know their stuff? Whereas I know enough of my stuff to at least carry it from my end. Getting you to get out of the football play-by-play modes into the wrestling play-by-play mode was it took us a while to get there. Once we got there, we'd have people come up to us and go, God, I enjoyed you guys so much. I'm like, all right. It's like, and some of them say we liked you more than the wrestling show itself. And which was never anything Bobby wanted to hear, but I mean, it was true though, because at least we entertained you. And I said,
we always found that to be important anyway.
Yeah. I mean, my thing was you get 2 shows with one. You get us and you get them. And we all try to come together to have this one big show to make it entertaining for you. Right. And, whether you like us or you don't like us, the fact is we're informing you of how the stories are going on. And it's based on the storylines that we currently knew. Now, things are changing on the independent scene very rapidly because, once again, you're talking once-a-month shows. You're talking about things changing left and right, injuries, and people can't get out of work, so the schedule got changed. I mean, it isn't WWE, but we did our best to make it work, and I've always enjoyed that. As far as to answer your original question about WWE and their current regime, I like it because
this was the guy that this is Trick Williams, right? Trick Williams,
yeah.
that's the last one I kind of see them build correctly to the point, is what I think I was kind of shooting and aiming at. Because they brought him in here and there on the show, on the main shows, but kept him doing what he was doing over in NXT until they finally made the call up. I think that was the last time I've seen. Now the ones that are coming are not this way. They are definitely different. It's a different way of bringing them up. Up and sure, there goes my internet. All right, there we go.
I got you. You're back. You're back.
But you know, the way they did Trick compared to some of
Rub two balloons together. See what happens. Everybody, thank you for watching the Cup to the Sports Show here on this Sunday afternoon. As you can see, Sonny's in he's in Wi-Fi hell. So just bear with us here as we continue on talk about the world of professional sports, whether it's wrestling, or real sports, or whatnot. There he is. He's back.
I'm back. I was actually on the wrong connection. So usually in the afternoon, like when we did the show, I don't have a problem. So now I'm on the. We should be okay for the rest of the day. I don't know why it is, but it is. But that having been said, I want to see what happens. I don't think I'm getting enough about them before they're just splashed into the main rosters and knowing about who they are and what they are. I want to see a little bit now. The opportunity now, though, with me watching TNA over on AMC, I get to see those. So when they bring them in there now, I think they did what they did with Hendry was really good because they started doing that before. Kind of bring them in the cross show that weren't necessarily connected. Now TNA is a little bit connected with the WWE as far as that's concerned, how they do it. Now, what happened and does what's it called? AEW. Do they still have those other smaller promotions that they're still working those?
They still have Ring of Honor.
Right, that's the one I was. Yeah, that's the one I saw. I saw a clip on Ring of Honor, and I sat and I watched it. It was a 10-minute match. I actually watched the match, but I don't know who it was. That's another thing. So there's so many different levels. You have the independents, then the move into Ring of Honor, and if I say if you can get into Shane Williams,
Shane Taylor.
Shane Taylor, thank you. I don't know how that guy's not up on. I don't know why he's not on the main roster. The guy's awesome. He's 10 times better than some of the new ones that are coming in. And now I'm not saying that because we kind of have a little history with him and everything. No, I just see how he does and how he connects with the wrestling fans in his way compared to what's coming up. It's totally different. But I think what Shane Taylor does is better than what's coming up there. And I know things will change over the time. I have a habit, and people say I claim that I live in a day where you don't want change. But as far as I don't understand the draw on why he is not getting that draw.
So you know what though, but maybe it's what we don't know. Maybe backstage he's a horse of X. Maybe backstage maybe he doesn't want to travel as much. Maybe his body's worn down enough from the indies where what they want him to do out there is just see something he can't do. I don't know. I don't know the guy personally, so I can't sit there and talk.
Well, maybe we should bring him on the show.
If he wants to come on, that's fine.
I wonder if he would, if I reached out. I'll send him the video, remember us, and hey, you want to come on the show? I want to talk a little bit of wrestling, but I don't know how much he will go outside of. He's like one that might not talk the way Unreal does, the real portions of the show and stuff like that. He might be too old school to where he would be willing to talk about something.
He's a Browns fan, so I mean that'd be interesting.
He's a Browns fan. Mm-hmm. That's right. He is from Cleveland. Now that I remember his spiel about Cleveland. Him and his who was his running buddy that he had with him?
Keith Lee.
Yeah. So But Keith Lee wasn't from there. I would love to. Maybe I'll do a little stretch because we're usually on this show. We're going to probably do a little bit of wrestling before we get into the other things. So I might do that. I might make a reach out to some people, that might talk a little bit of wrestling outside of the.
Why not? I mean, I ain't doing any wrestling shows anytime soon, so this is it.
I'm not either. Well, I was thinking about going seeing an independent show down here and take a peek at what they got going on down here. They got one. It's a little bit of it's 10. I know I shouldn't say it's so stupid because my new job, my total commute for the whole week was 15 miles. I'm not even joking. That's how close I am at what I do. So I don't have that much. So I get 15 miles. That's a long way to go.
Dude, 15 miles. Dude, I can remember saying, yeah, I don't want to go to Cleveland. I'm like, I'll drive. Okay, you drive.
Yeah, I'm that way. I've always been that way. I don't want to drive 3 hours. Now, big show, maybe I'd go and drive to see it, but the independent.
Look, I mean, the thing is that you and I talked about Ciampa, last week, I think it was.
Yeah.
Right? And and the fact that he left for AEW for a different opportunity. Don't know if it was any better. They gave him a title and took it away from him within a week. So I mean,
yes. And they're not trying to figure out how to get him back to get it again.
And again, this goes back to what you and I talked about. Like, the AEW is all about, making you say, aha, we have your talent, we made him a star. Now we're going to go back to our normal schedule programming and do what we normally do, which doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that what I find interesting about AEW is that they're in a total different direction, but with guys that were in the direction of what WWE was. So they, in my mind, they just want to get totally away from what WWE does. But the problem with that thinking is that you can think that all day long, but we already know who the better brand and the most successful brand is. So they're evidently doing something right.
It's like, I'm sure there are other ways to do pro wrestling in a great way like WWE. But what is that great way? We don't see it.
Right.
And we saw it back in WCW when the NWO came about, right? It changed the direction of wrestling and it changed how certain things were done. Then
that's because they brought in the new breed, and even though Eric Bischoff gets all the credit for exactly how great that was, the talent that he brought in still brought that talent, that thinking, everything else, and it doesn't go away. Eric Bischoff masterfully figured how to bring that together to make it what it was.
Well, but remember this though, NWO would not be what it was had Hogan not flipped.
Exactly.
And because you could have had, I think the original plan was Sting.
Yes.
To come in there and have him be part of that would not have worked.
So much so it was like 3 days before the actual Bash at the Beach before they decided. Hogan picked up the phone and said, "Let's do it." Maybe it was a week before. 3 days might be, but it was
in that week's time to where Hogan wasn't so sure about it because he had all these things like, well, why not? And then it lined itself. I mean, it could have been Savage, but Savage could have done that when he came into WCW, but he didn't have the star power behind him with Kevin Nash, Scott Hall.
Maybe that's what it was. Even though Savage, Hall of Famer, great person he was, he had that following, but the way that it was written, how it was written, Scott Hall, it was Rico Suave, was that his name? What was his name? Razor Ramon. He had that following before he went over there. By the way, Rico Suave is a song that I think it was, and he had his following, had a big following. It was a bigger than probably Sting at that time as well, than Kevin Nash. Now you got both of them with the backing of what's going on. And then going ahead and solidifying Hogan to do it. You've had the 3 biggest stars out of 10, probably, at that time. They were 3 of the biggest stars. Hogan obviously won. I think Razor Ramon, Scott Nash was around probably, if I ranked him at that time, about 4, and right directly behind him was Nash. I thought he's I think they promoted Scott Hall a little bit better than Nash, but it was still big. So they had the top 5, 3 of the top 5 out of that out there, and obviously, I think Kevin Nash put it well. They had 2 guys walk in and take over the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
The whole show. I mean, it stopped everything, and forget about the star power that was there. These guys just took over the show, and it was a natural fit because of who they were before they went over there. So that was huge.
Well, the one thing that makes a lot of sense about that is you think about it. Back in the day, let's talk early 90s, okay?
Right.
WWE, their 3 biggest stars: Hogan, Savage, and Warrior. WCW, NWA, whatever, was Flair, Sting, and Luger. Okay?
Yeah.
That I mean, in a Survivor Series style match, while you might want the wrestling basis of the WCW to beat over WWE, the star power of WWE would overtake WCW. Okay? And that's what it was. It was star power. It was all about star power. So when Kevin Nash and Scott Hall brought their WWE personas, quote unquote, their Big Daddy Cools and their Razor Ramones over to WCW, and just be Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, but they're still bringing that star power of them over there. Bischoff correctly promoted that is, let's have these outsiders, who we call them that, come in and wreak havoc over our company
for a long time.
But there's got to be a third guy. Who makes the most sense? Sting? Well, he's not really an outsider. Flair? Not really. I mean,
Luger, and there was nobody else to bring over from WWE with that kind of star power.
Luger, we just picked him up, and he's kind of fallen on. We don't know.
Luger was a tag on. They didn't even pay him hardly any money when they brought him over.
Savage has never been a leader.
Yeah, I agree.
He's never been the captain of the team.
No, he's best supporting actor.
Captain. So, well, there's Hogan. Hogan's lost a lot of steam, come from WWF to WCW. The crowds aren't really buying Hulkamania like we want them to. And if there's ever a good time for anybody to turn, it's this time. And this thus gave him a second career.
Yeah.
Which is good for him. Now, the thing fizzled out really quickly when half of WCW became NWO, and then, just the whole nonsense that took place. I mean, if anybody else, maybe bringing in X-Pac or Six-Pack at the time to be the cruiserweight guy, that's really all you needed. Maybe if you wanted to poke fun at WWE, have Ted DiBiase be Billionaire Ted, which was kind of cool because it was a shot at WWE from doing.
I think they missed on that. That's the only thing I think they missed on. No, DiBiase and Rude. Now Rude couldn't wrestle anymore because of the injury. Neither could DiBiase, but they didn't put him in the forefront to be a big part of it. Which was
I mean, the biggest thing Rude can be was Kurt Hennig's manager.
Yeah,
and those guys are lifelong friends. That made a lot of sense. So for them to be joined the hip, I mean, I think that was a good deal for those two for as long as it lasted. But the thing is that like I said, WCW had a time, 83 weeks, where they changed the business for something different, and it was good. But then Vince figured it out, and then Vince started doing his thing, and then he grew his own talent. You got Undertaker, your steadfast, cool hand Luke guy back there doing his own thing. Look, if I go to WCW, which I've got a lot of offers to go there, I can't be the Undertaker. I can't go be the dead man over there.
Yeah.
Be the dead man here, and I can make a difference here. I can be the Andre the Giant here and make a difference. Or go over there and do what AEW's doing with their talent, just kind of scrambling around with it. And let's face it, Bret Hart, for what little time he had left in the business, he could have been a lot bigger in WCW, but his attitude probably sucked. His agenda really got in the way. His own personal agenda, and plus all he cared about. And once Owen fell to his death, game over. So
he was never the same after that.
No.
Really.
So the thing is that
rightfully so.
While Bret Hart can sit there and bitch about WCW squandering his opportunity, well, he didn't do a lot on his own. Kind of like like Ciampa. What more did he add to the conversation to say, hey, what if we did this? What if we did that? I mean, you never hear of anybody saying, God, Bret Hart had a really good idea about this. I mean, if Bret Hart's main contention was to get to Hogan, and if Hogan was backtracking, fine, find other directions to get yourself over bigger than Hogan, so Hogan can come back and try to take it back from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's how the business works. But Bret thought the whole world had to hand him something because he was a drawing power in a steroid era WWE that was going through some hard times. I'll give him credit where credit's due. He carried the load at a time when nobody was watching. Let's be honest. Nobody was watching WWE or WWF wrestling at the time when he was champion, except overseas people. Because that's how it was. But things changed. And obviously, with the invention of DX and the invention of the NWO and the invention of new attitudes and the culture change that we had, you couldn't be Mickey Mouse to everything anymore. You have to be, Mickey Mouse with a dildo now, apparently, to make it work, right? So, I mean, it's weird. It's the world. I mean, it's a Jerry Springer world that we lived in, and WWE kept up with the times with that. And that's where I think I look at them now. Are they keeping up with the times now? To an extent, yeah. I like that Punk is their champion. I like that him and Roman are going to go at it at Mania. I can see that being, if as long as it's one-on-one, they have mixed in another person or a guest referee that can screw things up. That's going to suck. But if it's one-on-one, those two, great. I'm all for it. If it's Uma Fimby and Brock Lesnar, cool. Two behemoths going at it. Lesnar's probably going to leave after SummerSlam anyway because he'll probably be retired by Gunther. So, I like what they're doing it now. But I also like the fact that they're keeping us, I had no idea who was going to win the Rumble. I had no idea that it was going to be Roman. I mean, there was never a foregone conclusion who was going to win this thing. And I like that. Like last year, I had no idea. I mean, I think I picked Jay in our lottery pick that we did with Offshoots TV. But I picked him as my second or third person I possibly win this thing. And he was never my first pick, but he did it. So I like that nothing's predictable anymore. And at least
as far as results, yes.
Yeah. And that's what pro wrestling needs to be. It needs to be the magic show that you're sitting there going, holy shit, I did not see that one coming.
Real quick, it was like 2 weeks ago, read something about WrestleMania for the second year in Vegas. It was all 100% money play, more so than anything else. What's your take up on the idea of it was just a money play, and of what? Because I got a conspiracy theory on it, so I want to see how close that maybe my conspiracy theory might be to maybe someone else's reality. So go ahead. What's your take up on the second year of WrestleMania over there in Vegas?
Think about how much media attraction WrestleMania was in Las Vegas this last year.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. So to capitalize on that and get to be now, will be even as much more crazier. Will be less. Remember next year they're going to Saudi. So so whatever media attraction they're going to have for this year, they're going to be nearly half of that for next year. So, but they have to put on a strong. And by the way, going to Saudi over there, they can change that damn stadium around to make it not look so fucking empty. That'd be one thing, because those were reflective things they had in between the seats. We're not doing that. We're not doing the visual that the optics on that were not very good.
The optics weren't, but the fact of the matter is, if I read correctly, it was still, it looked empty, but it really wasn't.
It wasn't, and I saw the faraway shots from it where you see the people there, but it was the white in between reflective stuff that made it look like it was the damn near Thunderdome or whatever back when back when we
You
had
think
COVID.
that's a bad thing? So not seeing the fans the way
Doesn't
that
help.
you
Well,
should. You think,
plus the fact that Saudi crowd got really quiet during the Royal Rumble. That's the time you don't want to have them be quiet. You know, I mean, you want people to be up in line. Look, that's a bought and paid show, though. Saudi Arabia is going to get WrestleMania. That's a bought and paid show by the king out there. It's going to be, I mean, they're going to make their money regardless of the media.
how do you feel? See, but that's interesting because they'll look at the money of what they made last year and look at the money that they made this year. Okay. This year, I think will be slightly down, but it'll still be there. It's WWE, it's Las Vegas, it's April, it's beautiful. Place is going to be packed. I don't care what people are saying about.
Both nights will be big, so yeah.
Yeah, they're it's fine. That having been said, they know what they made last year. That had to be an introduction to Saudi. That we've got to at least get this much, but it'll be for a lot less too. They won't have to do as much in order to get it because they don't have the demand on the product, or Saudi won't allow the demand of the product to make it that way. So they got to make sure they get their money of what they would get for all the work that they would have done in Las Vegas. They're probably going to have to do only half the work that they did in Saudi compared to what they're going to do in Vegas. So I think they're going to get that money up front, basically, on what they did. And then if they can build on it and make more a little bit, maybe they can figure something out.
Think of it this way. Who are the greatest ambassadors this country has right now?
For what? For
just going overseas to bring in goodwill, to bring in, to have people from over there to sit there and see how we do it and go, okay, we want some of that. The NFL's been a big part of that. But look at, I mean, baseball is trying to get on that with going to Japan and playing games.
Yeah, I heard about that.
NBA is kind of doing it, I guess, but in hockey, of course, I mean they're all over the place.
They've been doing hockey's been doing that for years because it's such a niche, but the niche is so big that it makes it successful.
That's what pro wrestling is. It's a niche,
yeah.
Right? And they go over there to Paris, they get the loudest cheers. They go over to London, they go over to Saudi, they go over to Australia, they go over all these places.
Yeah, but the hockey game's not going to pull in 90,000 people in the night.
No.
But they make the niche profitable with the size of expectation.
Right. So for WWE to go over there and to say, look, we got the greatest product in the world because we're bringing it to the world, and we're in AAA said years ago, I'm picking up phone calls. I'm answering calls. We're willing to go anywhere, and he's doing it. And it's doing it. What's going to make sense for TKO? Doing what's going to make sense for WWE. Now, will the product suffer from that because built-in things about that is like well, we already know we have a bot show, so we can go half-ass on and be all right. I don't think anybody ever goes half-ass on a wrestling show because if you do that
on the show itself, but like on the pre-show and the build-up in that area, it will not be what you expect at places that would draw, such as Australia. I don't care what anybody says. Australia's going to have a great draw. England's going to have a great draw, like it always does. The States, Paris had a great draw. Paris, yes, they will have that. But the culture of what is going on over at Saudi is nowhere near those countries we just mentioned. So that's how they got to get that money up front, because they know they're not going to make any money by doing it. And by not doing it, they're not going to make any money. They are not going to go to Saudi. They're going to have to pocket that money. So that money's got to be up front first, I would think.
But also, but look, so every time WWE goes to Saudi Arabia, you see the beauty of Saudi Arabia, right? You see, I mean, they're going to show the war-torn area around Saudi Arabia. They're going to show you,
of course,
Saudi Arabia. Right?
Just like St. Louis, you sure are not going to go on the east side unless you're going to get a shot of the arch, and that's it. You're not going to get the neighborhood, neighborhood on the east side of St. Louis.
Right. So, I mean, but the thing is, they do such a good job of promoting that particular area, saying this can be a destination resort for anybody. If you come here, don't go anywhere else. Just come here. because we have this, we have that, we have this, we have that. Yes, we would like our women to not be, whatever, and it's not, but we have our built-in religious cultures that's already here.
Mm-hmm.
Just honor that
within
for
law,
us.
Religious within law. So
yeah, so honor that with us, and we're fine.
Yeah.
And because again, they're not the United States. There's no freedom over there, so you have to kind of, understand why you're going over there. Look, WWE has done a good job of promoting Saudi Arabia. And let's face it, the Saudis got into golf with Liv. That's kind of falling apart now. I mean, but
I saw that coming from a mile away.
Yeah. But I mean, how soon are we going to have it to where maybe the only people that can buy the Dallas Cowboys are the Saudis? Could happen.
I don't think it would happen.
I don't think it would happen. I don't think it would happen.
Just because of the ownership and what it is. Yeah. Old white guys are not going to allow them into there anytime soon.
That's true, but guess what? Old white guys die off, though.
Well, that's true, but that's also going to be how much of an influence do those old white guys have on the next regime, if it's a family thing, and if they'll just continue.
But trumps all that? Greed. Greed trumps all of that. And if Saudi came in and says, "Look, we got $3 trillion. We want to own a couple of football teams."
Yeah, I don't know.
It could happen. I mean, look, stranger things have happened in any walks of life, right? I mean, look at our president. Stranger things have happened. So, I mean, it's the different world we live in. It's not the 80s, not the 90s. We're not in 2000s. We're now in 2020s. Okay, yeah. Things are changing on a rapid pace.
2 decades into the 2000s.
Yeah.
So
AI is taking over the world right now. I mean, we all saw this coming with Terminator. So I mean, obviously, good things don't happen with that. So
yeah, I hope I'm dead gone before all that kind of stuff happens.
I don't know. We're gonna burn you up and have you be 8-eyed up for us to have a show on Sunday.
There you go. But interestingly enough, the wrestling that's going on. But Braun Breaker injury, he's I don't know if it's real or not, or if it's fake, but it's real.
It's the only reason why he got eliminated from the Rumble that quick, because he had a torn hernia.
See, I thought it was a write-up in reality. Now, that's probably a different term within it, but there's something that was planned to do something else at a later time, not necessarily because of injury, but for a storyline in reality.
Again, I was going to the Rumble thinking he was going to win this thing because the jetpack was already on. But then all of a sudden, but then he gets out to the ring as the first person out there, and he's eliminated within the first 5 minutes of the match. I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah.
I know our boy Omega was excited about that because I don't like Braun Breaker. So I'm sitting there going,
does he not like Braun Breaker because he just reminds him too much of his uncle?
No, I think he likes his uncle.
Oh, I love his uncle.
Yeah, he looks at Braun Breaker as someone who's not ready for this kind of spotlight right now. I mean, he's getting there, but he's just not ready for it. He's very.
What makes him not ready? I'll ask you because I don't know the answer to that question.
I
to me, he's a superstar. The way that it's been built, he's a superstar now. And is it because you don't think he can carry the weight of that responsibility? Is that what it is?
I think he gets lost in matches. There are certain times he's not turned around the right way, and I mean it's fundamentals at that point. There are things that he's not doing that's supposed to draw in that kind of crowd reaction. That Omega sees it more than I do. I mean, I see this as a learning curve for him, and having a guy like Paul Heyman at ringside to help build up that persona for him is a big thing. He's not ready to go on his own. He needs, kind of like when I had guys in my stable, they needed me to be out there to be the heat getter. He's not good at getting heat. He's not real good about getting heat. And again, it's also the very sensitive nature that a lot of young wrestlers are in these days, where they don't want the world to not like me so much. I mean, it's a little bit of that, and I'm like, look, you are picked to be the Lex Luthor of the entire group. You are picked to be the bad guy. No one's supposed to like Lex Luthor. Sorry, it's just how it is. No one's supposed to like Doomsday, or no one's supposed to like all the big villains. I mean, look at pro wrestling like comic books, right?
Right.
Good guys and your bad guys. People in the shades of gray don't last.
No, and they don't like the fact that they're quote unquote good guys, bad guys pinned up against each other because everybody likes it. But here's the thing: Braun Breaker and Dominic Mysterio. Now, you go back when we first started, we were tearing Dom up. Dom is what I'm going to tell you right now. He's top 10 in what he's doing right now. Because he didn't have a Paul Heyman. He had like a group, I guess, around him. But he pulled that together mostly by himself, by the hatred towards Hall of Famer father, which, by the way, I'm going to say it's probably the last great thing so far that WWE has done. Taking Dominic Mysterio and who he was, what he was, and whatever is, and where he is now, it is a total flip, but without giving him a Heyman and things like that. He kind of did that on his own, and I don't know if that was by listening, whether it was part of him making that part of the story, all that stuff, but it has to be him on the performance in order to get. I've never seen anybody get so much hate more so than Dominic Mysterio in the WWE in the last 10 years.
That's why I look at Liv Morgan, right?
Right.
She's great. And I mean, you love to hate her, but you hate that you love her so much.
Yep.
And because she is just that damn good. And I think she's rubbed off a lot on Dom. And Dom being the guy who turned on his father, who possibly could be Eddie Guerrero's kid, who has all these different things going on. And the fact that CM Punk comes in and automatically fucking hates him, even though they fucking love each other. I mean,
And he gets the bad girl too. And he had two bad girls in reality, if you think about Rhea Ripley, because that was there.
I'm almost three if you want to include what's her name, Rosie. So
I even forgot about her. Yeah.
So, I mean, the thing is that it's working for him. They found they saw the perfect wave with him, right? Mm-hmm. And instead of going against the grain, which Vince would have done, they said, no, let's ride this wave. Let's look for the bigger wave to go with this wave that we're currently on. And as they're doing that, it's like Dom is sitting there. I mean, and he's not wrestling a lot. He didn't have to.
Oh yeah.
But he's got.
He's over in AAA. He's been wrestling over there.
He's got the Intercontinental title. He's made both titles relevant. I mean, I always say, they say that to be the champion of the WWE, you got to be defending that title all the time, right? No, make it what Hogan used to do back in the '80s. You never saw him on TV wrestle with anybody. Now he'd go on the house shows when he wasn't going to drop the title at all, but he'd be on TV, and to see him defend that title on TV was must-see TV. And that's Absolutely. What any title they have currently right now on WWE is trying to do. And I like that because AEW will sit there and throw the TNT title and the TBS title and this 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 title for all the 10 different matches they have. Nothing's worth of value anymore.
I agree.
Nothing is worth of value. And whereas
we've seen that a little bit in SOAR where they were doing that, and kind of continued.
They were, but then again, you have a show once a month.
Exactly.
That's different. Whereas when you have regularly televised shows, you have 8 hours of television programming to fill. Your channel need to be on all those 8 hours. Maybe you hint that he's there. Brock Lesnar started this entire thing. Brock Lesnar, I mean, when he got the title and just went away, well, he's your champion. He's not defending. Why is he not defending? Well, he's Brock Lesnar. Come get it from him. And it was smart. But
he was able to carry that persona though at the same time compared to anybody else.
Well, I mean, Goldberg did it for a little bit. Roman Reigns did it for a lot because Roman, we can all look at the realistic part. Well, he's probably going through chemo right now. I mean, give him a break.
Plus, he was sick too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that going on too. But at the same time, look how much that's progressed his career. remember when he was champion the first time and everybody booed the fuck out of him?
Oh yeah. Which, by the way, I kind of like, because I realize he's actually doing it. What's happening is right. When you get that kind of champion in there and you get him booed because of what he is doing more so than what he's doing in the ring, that's the reason why the boos came out on him.
Well, the thing is that when the boos aren't genuine, when the boos are pretty much, they're just push them in front of us. They don't care about this guy. We're gonna John Cena his ass, all the whatever. But now when he come out as a heel, and they're gonna boo the fuck out of him because it works. I mean, he's progressed so far. John Cena, his last year in WWE, he might have gotten some of the boos, but that was only in retrospective of, hey, it's our last time to do it. But he was cheered out of all the buildings he was in. So even when he was a bad guy, I mean, the crowd
listen, when he was a bad guy at the end, I'm telling you, Trey, I don't know how much you watched of it, but every week that guy got booed, booed really hard.
He got booed, but then once he headed back towards the curtain, the crowd sat there and went, "Last time we're gonna see him." Yeah.
Okay, well that's different than him not really gathering the actual heel portion of what he did, which, by the way, he did masterfully. Because hey, you could say whatever you want, the low blow, poke in the eye, and all the nasty things behind the thing is what makes it. If it wasn't there, you would not have wrestling. That's all I gotta say. That's why referees are one of the most important portions of what goes on in the ring.
When he came out and he says he's in a volatile relationship with the fans, and I'm sitting there going, right, I can buy that, because especially how many times was he being booed when he's cheered? I can see that. I mean,
even at the beginning, which in reality, even though it was kind of a shit show at the beginning, it was the setup of what ended up being great in reality. And what they got to do to change to get him where he was, and then how did they sustain it through the years, and then ended on the way that they ended it. That's 25 years of masterful writing in reality from creative with John Cena.
And the thing is that, very few people can pull that off. Very few can pull what he did off. And
I agree.
In the span of 12 months, he went from bad guy to good guy. He went from good guy to bad guy to good guy, all in that time frame. And he walked out, did the right thing by going on his sword. And, again, people can sit there and argue that point all they want to, then they don't understand how wrestling works.
No, because you got to bring on the next guy. And that, by the way, it's Gunther by a mile. There's nobody right now in wrestling that can carry what Gunther has done for the last 2 years in wrestling.
Gunther has become what the Undertaker has become. He's a guy who doesn't need the title.
Yep.
At the same time, now he has the persona. He can eliminate legends. He doesn't have a WrestleMania streak, but he can eliminate your legends.
Yeah.
So who's next on the list? Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Rey Mysterio. Guys like that are just on their way out the door. He will be their last straw.
Right.
I mean, we saw that with AJ. We saw that. We saw.
Well, they started that out with Randy Orton, by the way. They, with the Legend Killer idea and stuff for what.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, is that
but he developed into the superstar that he is.
Yeah. But he had time. He had time to grow. Gunther is already in his late 30s. He's kind of He's kind of, he's already.
And that's another thing. They did that with basically an old guy going through NXT in reality, based upon the other ages that they have. What was his name? Not Wilbur, Walter. He was Walter. And I don't know who developed the name, but I'm like, dude, you could do better. I like Gunther. It sounds like he's a grunt.
We say Gunther, but it's Gunther.
Oh, whatever.
I know, right?
Either way, it's
perfect. But it is funny.
Yeah, either way, it's perfect. It's just like God. But that being said, now that I figured out how I can watch wrestling without, I've been kind of going back and watching what they are doing. I went back 4 months in reality. The 2 months before it faded off of Peacock because they were doing shows on ESPN 2 months before they were really supposed to be doing it, but they did it anyway. And I caught up on those things, and I have to admit, I am okay without not seeing it for a couple of weeks, more so than I usually wanted to see it within the next week. Now, I just slowly, and I just really kind of got caught up in reality. But
Look, I mean, it's what we live in now, the streaming world that we live in.
Mhm.
Do you know what one of the biggest shows on TV now is? They only have one of them right now. The Muppet Show.
The
On
what?
Disney. The Muppet Show on Disney.
Oh yeah, they started that back up.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to go because I have it.
I mean,
I have a hard time watching kids shows. I just
it's
maybe it's because I'm almost 60.
The one thing about the Muppet Show is this, though. It's never been a kid show.
Oh no, I understand that, but you know, I get it. It's almost like what The Simpsons is really not a kid's show. America Dad or whatever. I never watched any of South Park. Never watched any of them. You know, it just, you know, I don't know. I'm having a hard time getting up over that.
Old man syndrome. Huh? That. Give me 60 minutes. I don't care about the other stuff. Goddamn, Pat Summerall.
I will tell you one of the Muppet Show back in the days, the one that sticks in my mind is when Prince was on it. It just cracked. I go back and I see that every once in a while in a reel or part of it and stuff like that, where Prince is on the Muppet Show. And I'm going through my mind, Prince was on the Muppet Show, but there are also big stars on that show.
I went back on Disney and I watched one where they had Peter Sellers on the show.
Yeah, it's
and he's sitting there and Kermit's talking to Peter Sellers and like saying, this would be a time for us to get to know you. Like, little Kermit, my dear Kermit, let me tell you, there is no real me. I do not exist. And
all that, by the way, was really great writing back in those days too. I mean, you had to put it together and keep a part of kids, part of adults, and keep them both in. It was way before its time. By the way,
Jim Henson was way before his time too. So him and Frank Oz were just 1A and 1B when it came to that stuff. So,
also those superstars did that for really promotion back in the day, more so than getting.
Steve Martin was on there. You had Gilda Radner was on there. I mean, there's the very few things she's ever done besides SNL. She was on that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so but like they had such a connection with, like Frank Oz always had a connection with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi because he's in the Blues Brothers. He was in Trading Places, or he was in Spies Like Us, or whatever. So I mean, he's always had that connection with Aykroyd for sure. You know, Jim Henson, same thing. I mean, you know, Jim Henson had the Muppets, a different type of Muppets on SNL back in the first year.
Yes.
So obviously, there's always a lot of that goes on with and how great and how far ahead they were. I wonder how much weed Jim Henson actually smoked back in the day.
Probably a lot.
I mean, you would think he'd have to do a lot.
I mean, coming up with the characters, he had to be on something. God. Maybe it wasn't weed.
I don't think he.
I mean, come on, Beaker, and he turns it into.
Dude, I'm so sorry. I still like Statler and Waldorf sitting there in the balcony, just bitching about everything. That's you and me right there.
Why are we sitting here all the time watching this nonsense? I love those two, by the way. And by the way, they were never more than 2 minutes of the show, but man, they always made. I love
the show every time. Yeah.
Yeah, I know I watched them back in the day. The great thing is that I could do it if and when I do decide. I will never remember them, so it'll all be new TV to me. outside of Prince being there, that's one that just kind of sticks in my mind. Prince was on the Muppet Show.
I can remember being at work with my coworker, Michelle, and she's like 4'11" or whatever. She's a Muppet of her own right, and I walked up to her and went, "Mana."
And I've heard that they called so many things, but it don't matter. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it doesn't matter what it is, because they basically, using a wrestling term, it gets over and everybody loves it, and then it becomes the phenomenon phenomena. Yeah, that is. Exactly. So, no, but where were we? Oh, wrestling. We were talking.
I guess
the left turn that we always say. The left turn this show always goes. We don't even know what the hell we're talking about. But, but by the way, you mentioned it before. Liv Morgan outside of Rhea Ripley might be the best thing that they got going on that women's side over there. And she, every time she gets hurt, she comes back. Everybody loves to hate her, but they go back to just loving her.
They found a good way to make Becky a heel. I love how they made Becky a heel.
I think when they lost the tag team titles after they won it, what happened? I was watching that on Untrue. How she attacked her a little bit too fast, but I was sitting there, I was watching, and I was like, no. I read it as she always kind of hated it, but she got the gold and that was good enough and she could live with it. But now they lost it and she just went right after it, hating her more so than what they were trying to sell, which is a little slow build up and then do it. I was like, no, immediately get on that. I love it.
The hardest thing is going to be is to have Seth come back as a baby face and she continues on as a heel knowing that they're married, because they play that up a lot and they're going to they're going to find a way to turn her back to a baby face, or at least make them somewhat neutral with each other. Again, shades of gray type thing, which sucks in wrestling, but have them be the ones that think that the world owes them something, but then they go out there and prove that they do owe you something.
I think it's great how they're selling this injury. By the way, that injury sold. I watched it, how they did it. And he hasn't been on, and everybody actually think, if you don't watch that show, actually people think that guy's hurt. He's not hurt at all. He's traveling with his wife.
The daughter almost ruined it for him.
And brings the daughter along and everything. So he's not hurt at all. I think the way they sold it, if you don't like, parts of me wishes I didn't know what happens backstage, but I'm glad I do at the same time.
But this all goes back to what I used to tell everybody back in the day. Do you want to go to a magic show and see how the trick is done, or do you just want to see it done and be amazed?
Yeah, how did he do that more so than I know how he did it.
Nothing would piss me off more than being backstage at SOAR and having all the fans going up to the guys they were just booing a second ago, shaking hands, taking pictures with them, everything else. That's why I would never do that.
Well, because I went to ask you about that, and I get what you're saying 100%. But they're also on the independent portion of it, and part of the independence is being able to sell what you're doing in order to get more money, whether it's pictures and things of that sort. And the classic example of that is when you had the big heels come, and show up at an independent, and then all of a sudden they're bad guys, but they're actually good guys because they're at the independent. They got to sell shirts, jersey, and everything to help being able to go to an independent show outside of what's being paid to them, which evidently isn't all that much. Some of it is, but some of it isn't. Like Double A when he came and did that guy has always been a heel. All right, so you can't.
But he's a legend. That's different, though.
Huh?
You can be a legendary heel and still sell merch. That's one thing.
Well, yeah, but that's what they have to do. They got to be out in the middle in order to sell it.
Matt Cardona really figured out how to flip the switch on that.
He should write a book about how to do it, because him outside of Cody Rhodes. Okay, but Cody Rhodes got picked up really quick to AEW. Outside of Cody Rhodes, he was about the only one that was really putting it together.
So it's still different.
Say again?
He didn't get found. He didn't get picked up by AEW. He found the group.
No, but he's the one that kind of made it probably to where Cody Rhodes was making some good money on the independent.
Yeah.
And making some good money, and then he got picked up by AEW.
He founded AEW.
Yeah, he helped found it. I guess the money and all that. So, but that's also his influence based up on his father and everything else. Listen,
My son put it all together, baby. You know what I'm saying? He put it all together.
And he's got that tongue thing going with his dad too. It's just amazing. But Cardona, he did that for I don't know how many years. Then he popped up and you've seen him in Ring of Honor or something, whatever it is, and then went back off of it. Quick contract him to make a little bit more. But he figured out how to make the money that he was making with WWE, but without having the rules of the WWE come down on him. He was able to mark his amount, get the amount, and not only that, he did great with his merch selling through that time.
The one thing that made me stick with my guns and do what I did was I'd be out at ringside with some of the guys, right? And while I'm walking along, pacing back and forth, waiting for my move to take place, I'd hear one guy tell his kid in the front row, "Oh, he's just there to cause trouble." But they all like each other. I'm like, really?
It's almost like saying wrestling's fake. It just kind of pisses you off.
And the thing is that my goal is for that kid to hate every single part of what I do.
Yep.
And if I attack the guy that he wants me to, if I go attack Mr. Wobble, which I enjoy doing more than you know, I would tell Jay, I say, "Hey, that's a dream come true for me, bro." But I mean, if I attack Mr. Wobble, right, and Mr. Wobble's over like a motherfucker, but if I attacked him and everything else, and that kid hates me now because I did that, then the next time Mr. Wobble comes to SOAR, and if my guys are going to be a part of it, he wants to see Mr. Wobble beat the shit out of me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the way it should be.
So I want him to, but if I go backstage and go, "Oh, we were just playing,"
yeah. No. By the way, congratulations for Z. I don't know if anybody. I keep track of Z. I watch him and his mom. He's going back to school on Tuesday. So that he hadn't been able to go back to school, he hadn't been able to roll through it. So wish him luck. No, he's out of the wheelchair. Well, hold on. He's sometimes it just depends. I mean, because what he has will hit him.
It comes and goes.
Yeah, it comes and goes. You won't be able to figure out whether or not how he's actually feeling per se. From 1 minute to the next. Same thing. I had the same thing with my brother. My DC Dennis Clark, the boss. My brother's got cerebral palsy. All right. So like when we were growing up and around that age, he'd have great days, and he'd have just completely horrible days. And then of course, as he gets older, it just gets worse, as it works. So depending on, well, you also got to remember this is 50 years later from when my brother. Now, it wasn't the same thing, but what I'm saying, how medicine and medical things changed over that time are completely dramatic compared to what we've seen back to 50 years ago. It's pretty much irrelevant based upon what's going on today in today's medicine. So that wasn't gonna. My brother went to high school because he wanted to go to high school. It wasn't something that was really kind of. It could have been encouraged to stay home, kind of thing, is what it could have been. But my brother never did that. So
as you know, I've been putting together like puppets or Muppets or people. I did one of you. I did one of you guys. I did one of Z and his mom. So.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that one. Is it on your page?
No, I'll send it to you.
Oh, okay.
No, if it's a people that have we don't really know a lot of, I won't put it on Facebook. I'll send it to them personally.
One of these days, I got to get. I'm in a position now at work where I got like real hours, but. I'm still come home. I take a 2-hour nap because that's what I am. I'm old.
Naps are fun. Naps are fun, bro.
Look at, oh man, it's all downhill from here, man. I'm just saying, where I had that time, I'd be all right. I got 3 hours. What am I gonna do? No,
there you go. There you go. I sent it to you. Hey, I sent it to you.
Okay, I'll look. Let me see here. But I do. Oh yeah, there they are. Oh, I like Z. That's good. Did you send that to them?
Yeah.
I bet they like that. That actually looks really nice. Actually, hey, I actually look pretty good as a. I love Bryce's, by the way. I saw Bryce, the one that you sent with Bryce. So we probably. I'll have to figure out how to take those pictures and get them up on that page in Muppet ways.
Well, I figured during our off season time, I'm going to play around with the AI stuff to kind of to have some fodder for the shows. I mean, because whether we're talking real sports or fake sports or whatever, we can always have fun with with certain events that are like I posted one. If you go on my Facebook, I have one of ET being arrested by the ice agent.
Oh no, I did see that one. I did see that one. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe you just got more time. Maybe I just don't. I learned.
Yeah, I've watched 7 movies in the last 4 days.
Graphics
all the time.
Well, no, I learned graphics where you actually had to put a lot of time and effort into doing it. I enjoyed the time and effort because I was like, hey, look at what I did. Now AI does it more so than anything.
There you go. There you go. I just sent you one I haven't posted yet. It's one of Ric Flair putting Kerry Von Erich in the figure 4 and tearing off his leg.
Let me see. Where is that? Oh, I see it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. What was that guy's name?
Kerry Von Erich.
Oh, by the way, who was the kid that wrestled in WCW with the one leg?
That was Kerry Von Erich.
No. This was a young kid.
Oh,
no, it wasn't WCW. It was WWE.
Oh, Zach Gallen.
Yeah, that's whatever happened to him. I wonder whatever.
I think he's still doing some. I think he's out of wrestling now, but I think he's just kind of, doing whatever. But here we go.
I'll put this one up of that. Just give me a second here. There we go. And now I just got to load it up. Whoop, that's the video side. I got to do it on the picture side. But actually quite funny, but then again, whether I have time enough to do it or not, is more whether or not I want to do it. There it is. So, yeah. So that's quite funny. So, well, now you're just sending me 10,000 things. I'm lucky to be able to keep track of this thing. What's that one?
Which one?
Night Court. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Cool.
You did one of Night Court, but
it's Night Court with Charlie Sheen's character from 2.5 Men and the as the defendant.
Right. Yeah. Like, what the hell is that? Anyway. Oh crap. All right. Anyway, so here's what we need to do. I got some football things that we're going to talk about. We're at that half mode. We'll take the quick break here so I can get something to drink. I'm going to change my shirt. It's a little hot in here. And hit the head, and we'll do that. We'll come back here on the Couch Potatoes Workshop.
By the way, if you can find that picture of what our bet was a couple of years ago, what it should have been. The picture of you with the
the Muppet one.
You need to find that.
No, it's in your list. I saw it. We'll do that. We'll do that quick break here. I gotta go to the bathroom. We'll be back.
At Wesson General Contracting Incorporated, we're your one-stop shop for all your general contracting needs. We are locally owned and with over 20 years of experience, so roofing, gutters, sidings, fence staining, painting, foundation problems, or roof damage are no problems at all. Give us a call at 214-200-5588. That's 214-200-5588. Wesson General Contractors.
The prospect of retirement can be exciting and scary at the same time. At Nest Egg Wealth Advisors, we have found many people either approaching or currently in retirement failed to truly maximize some of the benefits offered to them, primarily Social Security. What is it? How does it work? It's simply not a benefit that you start receiving at age 62. Because these decisions are so important, my firm has assembled an informational packet on Social Security. If you would like a complimentary copy of Social Security Maximization, please give our office a call today at 972-412-6064 or visit us on the web at nesteggadvice.com. At the Jerry Bullet Training Center, we are a motivated team of coaches with the mindset of helping you achieve and reach your highest goals. Having developed and trained over 100 Division I athletes as well as Division II athletes, even professional athletes, the Bullet team definitely has the knowledge and mindset to take you to the next level. Check out our new 22,000 square foot facility and 3,000 square foot weight room, along with 4,500 square feet of outdoor turf and covered training area, along with football and soccer field. Contact Melvin Bullitt at 214-326-7853 or visit their facility just outside of Waterview at 8900 Princeton Road in Rowlett.
Being taken for a ride? Check out Casso Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance and save a ton. Casso Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at CassoInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on. Yeah, but is it fresh?
There is nothing that beats good home-cooked barbecue. Since 1941, Dickey's Barbecue has done all the cooking and you take all the credit. Come see us today at our Rowlett location, 5701 President George Bush Turnpike, Suite 110 in the Target Shopping Center. Whether you want to eat in or take it home, we will fix you up. For lip-smacking, rib-tickling, knee-slapping, foot-stomping, great-tasting barbecue, come see us at Dickey's Barbecue today.
Here at Fit Body Boot Camp, located in Saxe, the solution is here. Fast, long-lasting weight loss results and the healthy lifestyle you need to keep them. The key to your fat loss success is our signature afterburn workouts, as well as support and motivation from our world-class coaches, and an easy-to-follow nutrition program to help you keep the fat off. Visit your local Fit Body Boot Camp in Saxe today to see the difference for yourself, or give us a call at 214-463-3005. That's 214-463-3005. Fit Body Boot Camp, Saxe. Saxe Ice House is a non-smoking craft beer and beer pub located in the heart of Saxe. The Ice House was opened to provide a friendly, clean, and female-friendly environment. Saxe was lacking a place for service industry, date nights, and girls' nights, as well as happy hours. Excellent service and top-notch food are our priority. On Tuesday, we offer 79-cent wings, as well as half-price burgers on Mondays. So check us out at the Ice House, located at 6501 Highway 78 in Saxe, or give us a call at 469-304-1550, or check us out on the web at SaxeIcehouse.com. Go Mustangs!
Recently, and for no reason at all, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass f- Do you know how big their legal department is, face?" So to recap, Mint is actually lowering prices on every plan to just $15 a month. And I will stay the hell out of the legal department.
At Wesson General Contracting Incorporated, we're your one-stop shop for all your general contracting needs. We are locally owned and with over 20 years of experience, so roofing, gutters, sidings, fence staining, painting, foundation problems, or roof damage aren't...
Hi, everybody. This is Pick'em Champion, Podfather, Trey McLean. And, we're back.
Yeah, the side wouldn't go up and down what I needed to push. It happens sometimes. I'm not sure why it does that, but it does. So, all right, we are back. So, all right. That being said, that's the name of the show. Let's go into a little bit of what we briefly touched on this one right here. So big story. We know who's in the Hall of Fame. This was one that is a great story each time it comes around because of kind of what I feel about who Eli Manning is. I'm not falling for who he is compared to his brother and everything else. Um, I even go back and I say to myself, thank God that Peyton Manning got that second ring, because I wouldn't want to sit and listen to the fact that Eli had two and he only had one kind of thing. And Eli had the two before Peyton got the second one. So, it was bad enough I was listening to people who thought that he was better than his brother because of the two Super Bowl rings. So the stupid story that is, but more than the fact, at least he has two, so he can still maintain, what he is. But interestingly enough, what's coming soon in reality is not what I mean. He's got this to deal with. Ben Roethlisberger, first ballot Hall of Famer is the question. Good question or not? But with Eli Manning, because he's not going to get it next year unless the voters go completely stupid. And we kind of debated that last week about Tom Brady with him being the first ballot Hall of Famer. But with Ben Roethlisberger being the first ballot Hall of Famer next year, remembering how the Hall rules work, only one per position gets in. Roger Craig's prevented Frank Gore from being a first ballot Hall of Famer, probably. So that was kind of cool. Just more in the fact it just proves my point. He wasn't.
I'm more surprised he wasn't already in.
One, huh?
I was more surprised he wasn't already in. I thought Roger Craig had done enough to be in the Hall of Fame back in the '90s.
Oh, he did.
Because what he did in the '80s. So,
but there's always those guys that are so damn good that fall through the cracks. Like the one. Now, the excuse, Elsing Greenwood, by the way, should be a Hall of Famer. I didn't know he wasn't. And this was his last shot at being a Hall of Famer. So supposedly that's the reason why they didn't vote the way they voted for first ballot Hall of Fame and things of that sort. So I don't know. But Eli Manning now has to deal with next year's Ben Roethlisberger to get in, because kind of thinking if they go crazy and be stupid and not put Tom Brady in to create the story that Eli beats, Tom Brady in the Super Bowl each time they met him. And the first time he becomes available, Eli beats him again and goes in the Hall of Fame. I could just see this writing itself all over again.
The Vincent Man play on words right there.
Hey, they say that it's scripted. But
the thing is,
Ben Roethlisberger, is he a first balloter in your eyes?
He's got the numbers for it. He's got the championship for it. See, and I can't sit there and say off the field stuff plays a part into it because, Lawrence Taylor got in the first time he got in. I mean, Michael Irvin did eventually go in, but he wasn't the first time ballot guy. So I could see them kind of pushing Big Ben to the side for Eli and having Big Ben go in when it's a very quarterback-less year.
One less ring.
One less ring, plus the fact that he has the off the field stuff that he dealt with towards the end of his career. It depends.
God, I listen to that. It just, I don't know. Parts of me get what happened, and I know I shouldn't think of the way that I just thought how that whole thing went down. I saw it as a money grab, and still do, by the way, to this day. He was never charged with anything.
Yeah,
but
nothing
yet
ever came of it.
it's the optics of what it was that is going to prevent him from being a first ballot Hall of Famer, because it's not because what he did out on the football field. And we have these voters that they hold those kind of grudges. Obviously, you've seen that with Belichick not getting in on the first ballot. And they got these things now. Now the NFL's threatening to get rid of those guys who didn't use the quote unquote bylaws of how to vote for a first ballot or how they vote for it, which whenever the NFL starts talking, to me it reminds me of Donald Trump. I don't believe a word they say. It's just BS, whatever's being said and being paired as the optics of the truth. I can't get past what I think happened in that instance with Ben Roethlisberger. But then again, I'm not a voter too. So I know a lot of people find what supposedly, and I put those because I still don't believe what the reporting is on Ben Roethlisberger. I just don't. I don't believe her. So, and that's just a personal thing. And when that whole thing went down, we were doing this show. And I know I looked at it and still do look at it with, these are two people in a bar hooking up in a bathroom. I mean, that happens at almost every bar every freaking weekend. I ain't buying the fact that he quote unquote raped her. That's
every Friday night at barrios for you, isn't it?
Huh?
That's every Friday night at barrios for you, isn't it?
Yeah, but hey, I not Barry. What? Stop that. That having been said, dive bars, I guess, probably the best way to put it, because Barrio is not a bar. But anyway,
Jesus Christ.
I mean, down here, I don't even know if they have Famous Sam's. That was one of my hangouts. I know what was going on in the bathrooms. That's why I didn't go half the time when I had to, because I knew what was going on. And I'm not stupid.
You can go to the bar. So you can go to the bar and you go to the bathroom.
Well, sometimes they had a store next, like where it was. They had a gas station. So if it was going on and I absolutely had to go, I'd have to go over there. But it happened. You see, and that's what it is. I look at this, and this is the only part about being a superstar that I feel sorry for them, because they are targeted. You can sit here and we can debate women's rights and everything, but if you don't think that these guys get targeted, you're crazy. I don't think. Now, do they put themselves in a position to get themselves in trouble? Absolutely. I don't think that that's anything that you can argue. Ben Roethlisberger needs to be in a bar picking up chicks like I need to have another Twinkie, okay? It's just he doesn't need to do it. So I didn't.
Have you tried the chocolate Twinkies yet?
Hey, the chocolate covered one. They're called Chocodiles, and they're awesome. But anyway, that having been said, but I'm not. I'm more of a realist on what happened on the Ben Roethlisberger thing, more so than some of these voters. They're already saying they're not voting for him, by the way. Because of that incident, and I'm just having a hard time with it, of the fairness of it compared to anybody else, but it is what it is. I'm not a voter. And by the way, I don't get anything out of it, just more than the fact that, I don't think Frank Gore is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I've said it on record 1,000 times he's going to get in. But I don't think if I was a voter, I would not vote for him because I dislike him. I just don't think he's had enough for people to win. I'll put it. Do you know who Sean Alexander is?
Yeah, former sales. Yeah.
He deserves to be in way more than him, because the full time of his whole career, which was only 9 years, by the way, you had to worry about Sean Alexander, who he was, where he was out on the field. Frank Gore did not have that. He had it for 2, maybe 3 years, and then the rest of the 16th, no one worried about Frank Gore. And if you want to say they did, you just don't know football. You're not paying attention. You're not seeing. You see the productions in numbers. You don't see it on the field. Which, by the way, if you watched him on the field, he wasn't a dominating running back. Sean Alexander, watch out. You had to worry about that guy. And there's a couple other guys, but I use Alexander as an example because of 9 years of being awesome. You had to worry about him. And Frank Gore, unfortunately, you just didn't get that. No, again, I'm not saying he's not a good running back. I'm just saying he's a good running back. He could be in the hall. He could be in the Hall of Good, the Hall of Fame.
Well, tell you what. Let's look at Sean Alexander's numbers real quick.
Yeah, look at his numbers really quick. I've done it many times. I've watched. I've looked at it many times. So I don't have them memorized, but I know. I know they're better than.
If you shut up, I'll tell you.
No, right. I go ahead.
Okay, he's played 123 games.
Mm-hmm.
He rushed for 2,187 times for only 9,453 yards.
Mm-hmm.
He only had 100 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Frank Gore don't even have 100 touchdowns.
Doesn't he?
No.
Oh,
see, that's the thing.
Frank Gore. Well, let's compare the two then. Here we go. Frank Gore.
I think he has like 80. If I'm not mistaken, it's 85 or 86. So
he has 81.
81.
But
okay.
he has.
There you go.
But he has 1,600 yards.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue the empty yards. Even you admit they're empty yards.
Both of them average the same amount of yards per average, 4.3. So, I mean, I'm trying to think here. See here, he was the 94th pick overall in the draft. No, I'm sorry, he was in 94, he was the 31st pick in the overall draft. Well, no, that's not even right. I'm not reading this right. Pro Football.
I don't think you are. I think you're incorrect.
Oh, it might be. But just real quickly, what did he do receiving wise?
Well, here's one thing about it. If you know anything about Sean Alexander, he was known as Mr. Touchdown and Alexander the Great. Frank Gore doesn't even have a nickname. Yeah, I know that sounds stupid, but the greats have nicknames.
Actually, to be honest with you, Frank Gore did have a nickname.
But if you take a look, Sean Alexander had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of over 1,000 yards. He played for 9 years. So in 1 year, he popped up 1,800 yards in 1 year. So it was
Frank Gore's nickname
in that year, he averaged 117 yards a game.
Okay. Frank Gore's nickname was the Inconvenient Truth.
Well, if it was worth anything, I would have heard it.
It was inconvenient. It always do the truth, so you don't want to listen to it.
Yeah. So, but anyway, just looking at the number, and listen, Frank Gore was a football player. He was okay. He wasn't great.
That's 16,000 yards is really hard. It's really hard to shake at though, because not very many people have done that.
And yes, and he had had 9 years over 1,000 yards. I completely get it, but we also go with the other intangibles of the game. No one really worried about him. He was a good that's the way you say it. Hey, this is how you say it. He was solid. Wasn't great. He was solid. And solid isn't enough to be great. And the greats get into the Hall of Fame. But the Frank Gore, Sean Alexander is my favorite example of what it's all about and who he is.
So putting Frank Gore in the Hall of Fame is like putting Coco Beware in the Hall of Fame.
I fully agree with Coco Beware not being in the Hall of Fame. I don't know. It's the gimmick more than anything. If you recall he did
Memphis, that's one thing. But
no, I know Coco Beware is in the Hall of Fame. I don't know why. Yes, I will.
If you ever saw what he did in Memphis, that's why he's in the Hall of Fame.
Well, there you go. I didn't know what he did in Memphis because I didn't have access nor looked at it during that time. The ones that we got were from Minnesota because I was a Chicago boy. So
plus he had a bankable gimmick.
Well, yeah, he's more of a Hall of Famer because of his gimmick more than anything. But so sometimes you write Frankie. Was that the name of the bird?
Yep.
Oh my God, I remembered that. That's amazing. Sometimes some of the useless information that comes out of this out of this lid is unbelievable. Anyway,
I'm actually wondering how many Frankies they go through because they went through quite a few Damians with the Snakes.
Really?
Yeah.
How many?
Jake said they probably had about 3 a year. Because a lot of times he'd have them Snake with him, right? And he had to put him in the hotel, put him in the bathtub and everything else. And it was sometimes it was just, if the Snake didn't want to, didn't want to do his thing, they had a backup Snake.
Well, it's funny you think about that. And I know I'll receive help. Jake the Snake was not a great wrestler. He had a great persona, which what makes a wrestler. Yes, exactly. Without question. And by the way, I don't know if he's still doing it on AEW, but what he was doing on AEW as, a kind of a mentor kind of thing, I liked. And I like Jake the Snake. It was a great storyline, as far as that was concerned. Ravishing Rick Rude and Jake the Snake Roberts is one of my all-time favorite feuds in wrestling. Just because Rude was so great.
Jake knew his role. Jake was the guy that Hill had to go through to get to Hogan.
Absolutely. He was I would rank him up there, top 10 heel of all time. I mean, that's how good Ravishing Rick Rude. He's just my all-time favorite. And then now, if you believe the words and the stories that the combo of Bobby Heenan and him wasn't really great, I'll just respectfully disagree with that. But I get why they say it. But even though Bobby and them, it was like two magnets that, how you put them together and they stick, but if you turn them around, they just go away. It's kind of what that was in reality, but I still think it worked. I still think it played out really well.
Thing. Bobby needed Rude.
Yes.
Rude did not need Bobby.
And this is true. Some guys just have it, and he always had it.
Whereas, Andre the Giant needed him to be the bad guy.
Well, I needed him to speak for him too, because let's be honest, Andre was having a rough time there.
Like a lot of times, the manager is there to speak for the other guy.
Mouthpiece. Jimmy Hart.
Paul Heyman is the perfect example.
Heyman, yeah.
He doesn't need Seth didn't really need him as a mouthpiece, but it was good to have him there for Braun Breaker and for and for Bronson Reed and even for Logan Paul. But
although I think it is a mistake for it to be Heyman, because Heyman's that good, and those guys I just don't think are going to get up to Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. I don't think those guys are going to get there. We've seen him take on a role of a guy who was lesser and just didn't go well. I don't know how good we're going to see with Logan Paul, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. I don't know how well one of those need to make that lift. And obviously they had their mind on Breaker. I just think that's
obvious. The one guy I think who really, I mean, Braun needs him because Braun's got a little bit of that Steiner logic when he talks, and
yes,
that needs to be kind of curtailed a little bit.
It's kind of funny to listen
Bronson
to.
Reed needs him because Bronson can't cut a promo to save his life.
I agree. Logan Paul,
he's okay. Sorry, it hurts.
Got some mad love there for you. You shouldn't push him off.
But Austin Theory is interesting though, because Austin Theory is a guy who needed someone like Heyman.
I agree.
Yeah, but I almost think now Austin Theory could have gone the way of a Liv Morgan as someone to have him by her side. That might have worked out better for him. Because look at Dom.
Yeah, but you got money in Dom and her. That's money. They're not going to go away from that.
You do, but the thing is, we go back to when we first talked about Dom years ago. We didn't see money in Dom.
I agree.
Theory. And Theory, I think Theory needs. And I mean, by the way, I saw Theory wrestle on the Independent. I saw him through VIP one night, and he got the interview.
I like him.
Good kid.
I never met him, but I like his wrestling. I like what he does, and I'm glad that, and I'll say it, I'm glad Vince gave him the opportunity, although they kind of crashed and burned on that a little bit. But he was up there a little bit, and he had the time for a little bit, held championships for a little bit.
It's funny because when you think about the push that Vince gave him, Vince gave Drew McIntyre that same push.
Same push.
And it wasn't until almost a decade later
for
that to really work.
Yep.
And Vince not being at the company either. So
well, he was coming. He was coming back.
He was, but he excelled more without Vince being there than anything else.
Well, so, he was the Thunderdome champion, man. That's just all that really.
Yeah, I mean that was unwatchable stuff at the time. So,
well, I watched it week in and week out because there was nothing else to watch.
That's true. Hey, it's funny because it took COVID for me to go back on YouTube and look at old NFL games and like see some of the old Dallas Cowboy games in the 80s and where I was then go, why the hell I did anyway so much? And I said, boring. It's fucking boring as hell. Why would they give the ball to Ron Springs? Why would they do that?
I'm thinking to myself, the Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, they need to keep that going. It was really good at the time. I think they need to kind of get that going again. Still kind of based up on now she's with Dom and kind of thing. Play that story out a little bit. Pick that dog up. He wants some attention, man. What the hell's your problem? So, but back to I got a message. Hold on, who's it from?
While Sonny's checking out his messages, just so you know, go check out the Podfathers Movie Takes on YouTube. 223 subscribers so far, so we keep growing. We're getting about 10 a week, so
there you go. I'm back. I just had to answer a question. It was actually work related. So all right. So
it's ranked for a whole
No, I work 5 days a week, 9:30 to 6. It's great. Oh, and one day it's 9 to 5:30, which I forgot about yesterday. So I
work Monday through Thursday. I work Monday through Thursday from 2 p.m. until 12:30 a.m.
No, that's too long.
That's what I did. Well, only 4 days a week. So
I would dig that if I could get 4 days a week and get 3 days off.
I used to work Monday through Wednesday, 14-hour shifts, like 13 and a half hours. That was my 40 hours a week. And as long as those days were, to have those 4 days off, and plus plus overtime was excessive.
I'd get so much sleep, it'd be unbelievable.
What I would do is I would do Offshoot TV on Thursday night, then I would call into work and say, hey, y'all need me to come in and work a few hours? Sure. So I'd go in and do that, and or like, if that was before we had all the concert stuff going on. When we started having concerts at my place of business, that was easy overtime there too. So that was way before you.
By the way, Have you been out there for any of the concerts?
I worked
lately?
I worked the weekend when we had Dwight Yoakam Friday, and then we had Tim McGraw the next night. I worked those shows. Those last two shows really worked.
I've heard of those guys. They're pretty popular country acts.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We have
I don't know
next
any
week.
of their songs, but okay.
Next week we got Chris Stapleton for 2 days in a row. We got on Friday and Saturday. I won't be there for that.
Who was it?
Chris Stapleton.
Chris Stapleton. Is he a comedian?
Yeah. No, he's got country.
Oh, I don't know who he is. So
we got Diana Ross coming back soon. We got
hey. Have you worked with Diana Ross before?
I worked with her last time she was there,
yeah. She is a diva. Well, I'm telling you right now.
She was cool with us.
Cool. Well, that's nice because she her reputation is she's a total stone cold bitch.
I know, but I know Stevie Nicks came through our neck of the woods, and she demanded all of us to wear a mask backstage. This was right after COVID had just passed and everything else, but she was still, demanding all of us wear a mask. So I'm sitting there in my chair wearing a mask, and one of her people came up and says she wants to say thank you so much for wearing a mask. I'm like, no problem. So, no big deal.
Well, that was nice. She's kind. So that, demanding but kind. Yeah.
I worked the Ron White concert. That was cool. He's a comedian.
Oh, I bet that was he's a crack up. I'll listen to him. I like him. So this is what's coming up for you, right? When's this actually going to happen? So
still haven't decided yet. I'm still trying to figure out what it's going to be.
What do you mean where it's going to be?
It's definitely going to happen. I mean, it might be me looking at all the AI stuff that I've been putting together and throwing that on there and just saying, hey, just kind of do my own little daily show of it type thing.
That's why I gave you that little nickname, that I'm just saying, because I thought it would be perfect for you and how you are.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what else you bring to the table. If you're capable. See, I'm not capable. I can do it only for short periods of time. So that being said, I'm working on a couple of things. I'll do that. I'll work on a couple of those wrestlers. I would love to have Keith Lee on. I love Keith. I
mean, getting him as an interview is always an issue I've always had.
Well, because I'll tell you what it is with the wrestlers. Okay. And I had this with Titus O'Neil. Depending on who it is and everything, they had to have a representative, at least at WWE, be in on the interview, listening in the back, and be able to cut it off whenever he wants to cut it off.
the same with AEW for me. So I never got to interview him live on live. Unless.
But Keith Lee isn't part of AEW anymore, is he?
I think he's still under contract.
I didn't think he was under contract since 2023, but I could be wrong. So. But what do I know? Kind of thing. So not a lot, especially when it comes to picking football games. Evidently, I don't know shit. But anyway, yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy over there. Yeah. By the way, I gotta get to that place where I got your trophy from. I like that place, because I can get that for a reasonable price. So I got to get in contact with them. I haven't done it. To be honest, I haven't thought about it, but I will get you one.
I will remind you every goddamn show, sir.
I will get you it before the season starts. So that,
I know. I mean, because
same way on that one. It took time to get to it. So, but
anyway, two big trophies.
Yeah. Well, that one's heavy. So hey, there you go. All right, I want to get back to this because boy, it's amazing how this came up, and then no one's. We brought this up a couple of weeks ago, and how it has been, swept underneath the rug. I mean, this should be an ongoing story. But the NFL, hey, you can say whatever you want about the NFL. They know how to bury a story, right? Get rid of the story. Get rid of what the story really is all about. And that having been said, they did great here. They buried the story. It was a story for 3 or 4 days. We talked about it. No one said a damn word.
Well, the thing is, and I looked at all the names that are on that list, the unredacted list of who all's on there. I put a thing on Facebook. I'm surprised Charlie Sheen wasn't on the list, but is what it is. But I mean, hell, George Clooney's name's on the list.
Who?
George Clooney. But then you think about it, because when you get to know the story about Jeffrey Epstein, these are people that everybody he went after that are on that list are people that he's been in contact with one way or the other. Now, how far he went with them in getting in girls or whatever else, I don't know that answer. I know that.
Well, if you read that email from that dude, he was definitely trying to get some chicks.
You'll interrupt me. I'll finish my thought, sir.
No.
But I mean, the thing is that everybody's name on that list does not mean that they had access to an underage girl and had their way with them. It's just people that he had been in contact with, because he only dealt with people who were of a certain economic scale. And I'm sure all of them who were on there wish they got their name weren't tied to them. Now, as far as the guy from the Giants, I mean, look, if Jeffrey Epstein was actually getting this guy underage girls to go there and massage them and do whatever crazy ass shit they were doing, that's on him. I mean, the NFL, like you said, the NFL will find a way to bury stuff unless this guy's name comes to light again in front of Congress. Then it's not an issue right now. He's just a name on a list. That's all he is. Kind of like Donald. I mean, Donald Trump.
That's all he is, and basically. But the NFL has a way of looking out for themselves and their image. And
can you imagine the shitstorm if Tom Brady's name was on that list?
Well, Tom Brady's not that stupid.
No, but I'm saying, what if? Because I mean, in a way, some of these guys who are millionaires or billionaires or whatever are lucky the fact that Jeffrey Epstein never contacted them, because this is what the Epstein list is. People that he's been in contact with, whether through email, phones, or whatever.
That pod show, that very famous one, that guy. He also did Fear Factor.
Oh, Joe Rogan?
Yeah, he's on it.
He's on it only because of the conversation.
And he came out and said, "Listen, I'm on the list. I'm not saying I wasn't on the list," but he also explained it. So I think I find that very interesting. Yeah, I'm on the list. I didn't do anything. I mean, he came out and said it. And when it comes from Rogan, I almost believe everything this guy says. I don't even know why. But I believe him. So I guess I'm a believer that if you don't have anything to hide, you don't mind answering to what this is coming up there. And he got on top of it really quick. It's the ones that are not saying shit that makes you kind of wonder. The Bill Clinton kind of thing.
I mean, Bill Clinton and Hillary went and testified in front of, or trying to do it, trying to come forward and explain what all their business dealings with him were. That's the thing. I mean, business dealings and personal relationships is one thing. Did he bring them underage girls? Both? Yeah. Well, I mean, did he do anything illegal with them? That's the biggest question.
Wouldn't doubt me. It wouldn't. He's a horn dog.
I'm sure.
I mean, Monica Lewinsky was barely legal.
Sonny, the thing is, it seems like he was more of a horn dog to himself.
Well,
that's the thing. I mean, yeah, maybe there were certain people in that circle that got involved with all that stuff, and we don't know all the specifics on that yet. But it looks like from everything I've seen, the documentaries on him and everything else, he was more of what about me type thing. He didn't care about anybody else about that.
I agree. Yeah, he's a horn dog. There's no question the guy's a horn dog. Always has been.
When you think about with how society is nowadays, think of what shows would never make the light of day today, or they have to change the character up. Sam Malone cannot be Sam Malone that he was in the 80s.
No, Archie Bunker
couldn't do it. Fred Sanford and Son had to be different.
Absolutely.
On Night Court, Dan Fielding couldn't be. They had to change his character up on the reboot.
Yeah, well, the reboot was horrible.
Huh?
The reboot was horrible.
Yeah, I didn't watch. But I mean, Three's Company would be a whole different show.
Yep.
Because again, what's the big deal about one guy living with two girls nowadays? I mean, unless it's a threesome, you know. I mean, which what on that show? But I mean, there was so many things that have gone.
I think Three's Company is more relevant today than it ever has because of just the economic status of trying to live somewhere in California. You got to live with a bunch of people in order to have a place to go.
I put together an AI cartoon of Jack Tripper sitting on a couch with three of the girls from Friends.
Yeah.
Let's add one more. So,
why not?
Why not, right?
So
I mean, it was just like a what if thing, right? But you know, the thing is though that you know, society has changed so much, and of course, going back to the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. Look, I'm not gonna get political here. I don't know how far this really goes. I'm guessing nobody got killed. He just you know, possibly you know, as far as we know, he assaulted a lot of underage women and got killed in jail in the process. So, you know,
I don't know all the details to it.
I don't either, but to watch Pam Bondi up in front of Congress, and that's a political show. I mean,
show.
It is because, and you know what? I mean, because of her now, every time things are going bad, just sit there and yell, "Hey, look, the Dow is up 50,000 points." You know, so just keep yelling that out and see what happens. I mean, look, but here's the thing: I don't blame her. I don't blame her.
No.
She's
I don't blame her for it. Hers is a paid stupidity. I don't think she's as stupid as she sounds.
Well, I mean, she's stupid.
First of all, she's a lawyer. Okay, so she can't be that stupid. Okay, but she could be paid to be stupid, and I think that's what you're getting.
I think Donald Trump is doing the whole puppet thing and saying
absolutely.
He dances like this, why not? So I mean, he dances like this. I mean, this is him controlling his puppets. So I you know, I put together a Law and Order. What was it? Observe and Neglect with Cash Patel and Pam Bondi together.
I saw that thing, but yeah, well, hey, if you want to see some crazy stuff, follow him. You know, that guy.
I'm Jeremy Clan on Facebook. Just follow me. Don't send me a friend request.
All right. But, let's get into some sports because we only got so much time, and I got some things.
All time in the world. Coaching. Come on.
Yeah. Well, no, I can bullshit, but I actually got something to do.
It's always about you. Okay.
If I didn't have anything to do, I'd talk all night long, probably, depending on. All right. So here it is. The expectations, they have happened, by the way, but it wasn't LaFleur who's the coach though, for the Cardinals, or was it?
Did LaFleur get picked up by somebody?
Hold on, let me.
You should do your research, right?
Yeah, it is. It's Mike LaFleur. He is the coach of them, and the other one was Kubiak, and that happened. All right, so these are your new coaches, and so.
Not one real black coach. I mean, I guess Sala can be considered African American, right?
Well, no, I thought he was. No, I forget what he is, but he's not black at all, actually. So,
well, man, and by the way, the whole thing, you know, we have to interview a black coach before we hire a white one. That kind of went out the window.
No, it's
not every team has done that though. Not every team has done that. You know that. Come on.
Well, no. Every team, even your Dallas Cowboys did it a couple of years back with Lewis. They just had dinner with him and called it an interview. Lewis happened to be in town. They just had dinner with him. They called it an interview so they could get around it. And then
Lewis.
That was he had dinner with Jerry Jones. They're actually pretty good friends from everything I heard.
I don't have a coach right now.
I don't have a coach right now. Who do you think I should get?
That's
what it was.
Well, we talked to Marvin, and
that's before he hired Garrett. So which is. You want to talk white? That guy's as white as he could be. But the coaching is, and that is the story.
Hey, by the way, By the way, when you lived in Dallas, were you a fan of Dale Hansen?
Yes and no, depending on what he did.
He has a podcast now that's available to listen to, and I guess you can watch on YouTube as well.
I didn't know I thought he retired and was done. I didn't think he went into the podcast thing.
Oh yeah, he talked about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, and he says, I used to be a Cowboy fan, but here's the thing: when you go out and you get coaches that nobody wants, and everything he's saying is true. Nobody wanted Barry Switzer. Nobody wanted.
He was about the only one that would have the balls before to stand up to Jerry Jones and ask those questions that most people wouldn't have the balls to do.
Well, the one thing he talked about was during the show one time, he talked about, he asked Jerry Jones flat out, I was like, let me ask you a question, Jerry. If, what other NFL team would hire you as general manager?
Yep.
And Jerry went, and he couldn't answer this. So when the show ended, Jerry smacked off air, according to Dale. He smacked Dale's hand off and said, good show, and walked off.
Yeah.
So then Rich Dalrymple, the former Cowboy PR director, Dale got on the phone with him. He says, "What's still with Jerry?" I mean, one thing about Jerry, I'll always give him credit for is the fact that he will give and take on this stuff left and right. He's like, because you got him. Because you honestly got him. I mean, you put him in his place, and he cannot stand that.
Yeah.
And that's why Dallas Cowboys in the last 30 years have been where they're at. Because you talk about the Hall of Fame, maybe the Hall of I mean, they've had the decent seasons with nothing to where you can sit there and go, all right, Super Bowl bound. Here we go. And it's been that
there's
way.
no question that. But the only problem with the Hall of Fame, that guy, he's a Hall of Famer. You say whatever you want. I mean,
because of PR
definitely did. But as far as the last 30 years, if they built his resume on the last 30 years, he wouldn't be a Hall of Fame, a Hall of Fame owner. But you get the benefit of having what ended up happening in the 90s with that football team, which this is the reason why I hate them. They were just that good. So some other interesting news coming out. This story right here, it's amazing how it didn't get a lot of play, but this is a big story in reality. They took the arbitration out, and they're going to do this in front. They're going to end up doing this in front of a jury. Got news for you. This will settle before it gets anywhere near a jury. Yeah. Just, because that's what they were trying to prevent in the first place. They knew, and the NFL knew what it needed to do if that ended up happening. And guess what? It ended up happening. Now it is what it is. So, Brian Flores and a couple other guys that have that, they're going to be they're going to have all the money in the world, as far as that is concerned. And, but I wonder, I'm just, Sonny, it's not that it's a conspiracy, but I wonder if Flores ever ends up with a head coaching job ever again. And it has nothing to do with the fact that he's black. It'll be more in the fact that right there. And how the NFL will blackball that dude so quick, before you even know it. As far as being a head coach, he can be an assistant coach all day long because no one cares. They're not the mouthpiece of the team anyway.
It's amazing because he's kind of Colin Kaepernick himself into a non-job that he can't get anymore.
Yes, but totally different thing.
But they're because he's still actively employed by the NFL.
But they still got the little togetherness on what it was about.
One team is going to get to that point. We've seen it. We've seen it to where teams have hit that bottom point to where they have to find the guys and take them forward, right? And they're going to hit the point where they're going to go, who's out there? Who's currently out there? Exactly. Yeah, a lot of black people did not get that, but I don't.
9 of them.
None of them.
9 of them. Remember that the NFL's only got 32 teams. Okay, 9 were not.
A lot of them got assistant coaches.
Did not have a head coach, and none of them. And by the way, Flores needs. I'm telling you, I am so shocked about the Flores story that how this guy has not got that job. And it just goes to show when you got old white people, they don't want controversy. And say whatever you want about it, he's controversy.
He might find better success in college then.
He's too good for college.
He is too good for college. Hey, Bill Belichick's too good for college.
Well, I never did understand that. Is he still coaching that team?
Yeah, he's still with them. He's
he's
worked for years.
Yeah, but no, he here right now. There are not too many better defensive coordinators outside of what you got in Seattle. Obviously, he's so good. He's a head coach now, but I don't know.
You have Vrabel over in New England. Same thing with him.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. The whole thing in Miami, when that whole thing went down in Miami, I said it then, and I'll say it now. It should never happen to him. Well, yeah. Didn't he just pass away? What was his name? Started with an R. For the Chiefs. He just shoot, so close. I can't. But he was Bieniemy.
I'll look it up.
Bieniemy. He's talking about Bieniemy. The defensive Romeo Cornell just passed away.
Yeah.
So he's talking about Bieniemy. So I
Well, that guy packed on a lot of weight too after he retired, didn't he?
No, he went. I thought he went to college. Didn't Bieniemy go to do a college gig?
Yeah, he gained a lot of weight though. I mean,
he might have. I mean, a lot of NFL coaches are fat. But going back to that situation, I think as far as Flores is concerned, and this will fly right into the radar, John Gruden might get a job before he does. I mean, because everybody's talking about, which, by the way, listen, I don't care what kind of court case that John Gruden will win. He typed those words. Okay. It's one thing to say them off the top of your head, right? And I don't know if Anthony will agree with me or not, but once you start typing them, that means that you're thinking it more so than speaking it. You can say some of the off the wall bullshit with not thinking, but while you're typing, you're thinking. And he had those racist comments when he was saying, John Gruden is a piece of crap. Okay. I don't care how smart people think he is, or, quarterback whisperer or whatever kind of crap. He typed those words. He didn't say them. And he typed them. And not only that, he typed them and gave them to a bunch of white NFL owners. They let them to continue on doing what they're doing, sort of like the same thing with Trump. It's more popular today to be a racist, and you can get the followers. It's the same damn thing. He's a piece. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit how good he is. The thought process. It's one thing to say it off the top of your head and you're not thinking, or you're surprised. He took time to type it.
You think Donald Trump really had the AI sense to put together Obama and Michelle Obama? Right?
He didn't do it, but he laughed at it. He thought it was funny, and I'm sorry. See, I can't. I'm not going to. If anybody defends it, you're just no. Let me rephrase that. If you defend it, you're ignorant. I don't give a shit how smart you are. You're just ignorant.
At all. I think because it comes off of your. By the way, I don't think. I mean, I hear this entire week. I heard them having Pam Bondi on the stand there. They're saying, you posted this on Twitter. You posted. Politicians shouldn't have access to social media.
Well, that's because the guy sits on the john in the middle of the night posting this shit. He's taking this shit, posting shit while he's taking this shit. And just like, why don't you go get some sleep? Hey, granted, all right, the guy's working all the time. Go get some sleep. So we don't have to hear from you for 8 hours. Just 8 hours without hearing your mouth flapping. I mean, Obama wasn't on camera every damn day. Didn't need to be. I don't get. But anyway, all right. Anyway, back to the
Couch Potato Show. Your political source of entertainment.
Yeah. I'll leave that to you. I'll jump on your show and go that route. But anyway, John Gruden, he's going to get a job before Flores. That's going to I mark it. What is it? It's February 15th, 2026. He's going to get a job before them, because that's the way it works.
John Gruden makes more money doing TV stuff than he'll ever be as a head coach.
It's not about money, and you and I both know that. He's still getting paid the $10 million every single year to not coach the Raiders.
Does he want to go through the grind of an NFL season and an off season and the draft and everything? I know he don't want to go through that crap anymore.
I think he'd get into it. That also being said, because I'm not stupid, he's a good football coach. And he probably have success, but that doesn't mean he's not a racist. It doesn't mean that he has racist tendencies and thinking. So, just makes him a piece of shit.
I posted a thing. I had the ghost of Tom Landry, I had Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer all laughing at Jerry Jones, right? Because nothing Jerry Jones has worked, right? My buddy Wiley, who you don't like,
I don't like him. That's
he starts mentioning the good days of Landry. I just feel like, the bad thing about Tom Landry, his system will never work today. I don't think his style of coaching would work today in the NFL.
No, it won't work today. You're right.
I think given the nature of the sport, given the nature of how you draft players, how you bring up players, Tom Landry never dealt with free agency. Not to this level. He's dealt with players.
Tom Landry can't say analytics. He doesn't even. Today's football is so much analytics. And his is intellect, not analytics. His is intellect. Right. Two different things.
I really don't think he would last. Like we saw guys like Bill Parcells take his ball, come to Dallas, and did something with it. Didn't do a lot with it. Did something with it. We see Bill Belichick going to North Carolina and trying to do something over there, right? Like the old school guard doesn't seem to be what everybody wants these days. And John Gruden is kind of in that category.
Right.
Whereas now, I don't know, he's more in tune with the players today than like the other coaches are. But I think the game has changed so much that, guys like Andy Reid who are looking at the young coordinators who are coming in and working underneath them to work with these players. So he can sit there and just kind of be the guy that kind of tells you, okay, we're going to go this way, we're going to go this way, we're going to go this way.
Yeah,
a little different than being what Landry was back in the day. So I think I love Jimmy Johnson, love him to death. But could Jimmy Johnson of 1989 work in today's NFL? Yes, he'll get the players motivated, but no, he will lose the locker room a lot quicker than he lost them in Miami.
And how long will it last, though?
Right. It might last
before the new school come in
and the team bells on.
Yeah, because let's face it, the new players are coming in, and their attitude is how much money they make compared to coaching. Well, and they're why am I listening to this dude? I make 20 million. This guy makes barely $1 million.
There's college players right now saying I can't be 24 years old and be a quarterback at so-and-so college. I'm making more money here than I'll ever make in the NFL.
Boy, that was a huge Pandora's box that opened, wasn't it? I warned everybody. But
it's weird because I've always my whole take with paying college players is this. I hate Rex Ryan sometimes. You talk about it on TV, but you can't coach. You're not wrong.
He's not wrong at all.
But the thing is, Rex
Ryan and his brother, by the way.
So you got to quit talking over people, okay? Shut up.
No, I that's what I do.
I know. Look, Rex Ryan did a lot of good for the Jets, but did a lot of wrong for him too. Okay, he had his good times and his bad times. The bad times outweigh the good times, right? And when you're in New York, that's blown up 1,000 times. But it's a weird dynamic now because, going back to coaches nowadays and how they are. They have that one figurehead right there being the guy who's going to be in charge of both the offense and defense special teams. But he's probably going to be motivating towards a certain, like the guy from Seattle. He's a defensive guy, So as long as he has the right offensive coordinator right there, his offense will be just fine. I mean, let's face it, we saw a Super Bowl of two teams that offensively could not put nothing together. In my mind, the kicker should have gotten the MVP. Okay? And I say that because,
that running back was really good, though, Walker.
He was good, but he didn't put any points on the board. And when he did that, take it away from him. And who kept his team? Who kept his team in that game the entire time? The kicker. So he's your most valuable player.
Well, Walker put him in the position to kick those field goals. That's probably the thinking involved.
Yeah,
that just goes to show both quarterbacks were that bad they couldn't pick a quarterback for the MVP.
Do you think the NFL people are sitting there going, guys, do we really want the kicker to be the MVP? Do we want to send the kicker to Disney World? Do we really want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, when did the Super Bowl MVP? When did him and the quarterback get to go to Disneyland and not just the MVP player?
Listen.
Because I saw Sam Darnold and
I can't defend it. I don't know. Maybe they're buddies that much.
What? We need to answer these questions, Sonny.
Well, here, I'm going to put this up. We're not going to answer any questions except look at all the places where these guys played, and there's some great schools in there. I don't know who they were, I do know one of them, as far as that was concerned, or a few of them actually, but
I know all the teams in there. What are you talking about?
Well, no, I know all the teams. I don't know the players who represented them.
LR was it? LR is that Little Rock High? Is that Little Rock College or something? Or
LR?
Yeah, LR. It's on the second from the top. Last one underneath the Vandals.
Don't know. I have never seen that logo ever in my life, so I wouldn't know
who
it.
State is
Little Rock.
That's what I was thinking, Little Rock. But then, like below Colorado, you have one called State.
Well, that's Mississippi State.
Okay. Is that University of Utah? UU? Over by Duke?
Over by Duke?
I guess it's Duke, isn't it?
I gotta find it.
Okay.
LU? I don't know.
No. It's above Louisiana Tech. It says UU.
Oh, wait. I was looking at that one. I gotta find these things. Shit. Oh, UU? I don't know.
I don't know what that is next to North Carolina. I see Anthony was asking this. What is that?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a high school logo. Was there some high school football player?
Never mind.
Could that be? Wait. Is that the Canada team?
No, I think he's saying it's Houston.
No, these are schools. So it's not the Canada team. I don't know.
By the way, why isn't Canada not in the NCAA?
Say again?
Why does Canada have an NCAA football team?
Why don't they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why not?
Maybe they do, and we just don't. We don't live in Canada, so we don't know their. Only thing I know is they got a Canadian football league, which I enjoy watching every once in a while, but can't tell you anything about it.
How much spring football do you plan on watching?
Spring?
Yeah.
Probably none. I mean,
UU is Union University.
I don't watch very much college football and or spring football. I watch indoor football.
All right.
I don't know. Union University. Thanks, Anthony.
I said that. Thanks for listening.
No, I heard you, but I didn't know if it was right or not. And he confirmed it.
Listen,
you don't know what the
hell
you're talking about on this show
anyway. Okay? I'm trusting our correspondent Anthony out there. Anthony, good job, buddy. Checking them out.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks for the confirmation. That's what I don't know.
Man, thanks for watching two losers talk football here when we don't know who's all who.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I don't watch them. There's too many damn teams. I have no damn. I don't know if we're stupid or funny or a combination of both.
Well, I'm funny. A stupid one is that guy over there.
That guy, I don't know. But anyway, by the way, okay, I had this. I'm gonna put this up. This is how good Tom Brady is. By the way,
we know how good he is.
Yeah, but I just want people to understand how good he is.
You don't think because
I want people. This is for all those that say Joe Montana is the GOAT.
You mean Joe Montana?
4 times he went 4 times, won 4 times. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, 2.5 times more times to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got
look.
So basically, what I'm saying, it's not even friggin' close. Okay,
no,
I love Joe Montana. I love me some Joe Montana, but it's not even close. I mean, it's one thing to get there 4 times and win. It's another time to get there 10 times and win 7 times. Or 6 or whatever the number is. I don't believe that. No, I believe it to a certain extent, Anthony. I believe it to a certain extent. But here, back in the day, let me go back up and let me just put this back up here. Go back into you go not year 1, not year 2, but 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, whenever that guy got into scoring position, he needed a score. He got it, and it's not 100%, but it's in the 90s.
I love the winning percent stat. You're 1,000 or you're nothing. There is no.
Well, those are the ones you can tell he won. So he lost, and there were 2 Giants right in a row. So but
well, I mean, he deserves a ring because he played on the championship team. That's why he gets a ring. Trent Dilfer can say the same thing about his situation. So
right. Well, and by the way, it's a great example. It is the Trent Dilfer Baltimore Raven all over again in reality. Listen, Sam Darnold, by the way, and I've said it on the show a couple of weeks, he's been the best quarterback in the NFL for the last few years as far as wins on football teams. Now, granted, he's had 2 good defenses in Minnesota and Seattle. That surely in the hell helps. I won't deny that.
Look,
a win's a win is a win.
Does Sam Darnold get a championship ring with the Cowboys? No. Okay. They had no defense at all. So
hold on. Now, it's funny that you mentioned that in reality. Because then I think it's this. Oh, did I get it? Did I bring it
Come on, we got to be pissed together.
I had the video and I miss it. It was about the Dallas Cowboy who, what's his name? His name slipped my mind, won the championship with Seattle. He's like, I'm not going to win a championship here. And he goes to Seattle.
Hey, you know what? Shout out to him. He got the ring. Good for him. He's a great player as a Cowboy.
Now bring him back.
So that he don't want to
bring him back.
He don't want to come back.
Oh no.
He don't want to come back to Dallas. There's too many.
Got the ring. He got the ring. Listen, he got the ring. I'm telling you right now. That's a desire. He got the ring. You pay him enough, he'll come back. And by the way, they should do that, but just to kind of give you the heads up. All, I don't know what his contract situation is.
Sonny. He's still under contract.
No, you're going to interrupt me. I'm just going to complete my thought.
I'm just saying he ain't going to go nowhere.
Huh?
Look, if he comes back, he'll come back in the Ring of Honor. Okay, that'd be him coming back if he comes back. But honestly,
I think Dallas should reach out to him.
Okay, but again, he's still under contract, and I don't think he's willing to come back to Dallas. There's too many hurt feelings right now between Jerry Jones and
well, that is true. Hurt feelings, But man, it's amazing what Green does for hurt feelings. I don't know. And that this was listen.
He's not wrong.
Dak Prescott. Well, no, he's not wrong. Dak Prescott got his money. So, now it's more for him to get the ring.
You know what? The thing about him getting his money, though, he got his ring, but he's truly trying his damnedest to make the team better. The bad thing is he didn't play defense.
Well,
and
I agree with you, because all you got to look at is how many points they put up.
Unfortunately, you can't. If you can't pay defensive players because you're paying your quarterback X amount of dollars, you might be part of the problem. But then it's not like Jerry Jones ever gone out to him and say, "Hey, can you kind of structure your contract out a little bit so I can pay some other players?"
He does it all the time, every year.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing
when
is,
he renegotiates the contract and it becomes, then that money's clear to go get a player. He's been doing that for years. Which, by the way, what's the difference? So yeah, he does it. But here's the thing,
catch up to you, though, because it caught up to him when he did it with Detroit back in the day.
Yes, but at the same time, that also is a dropping of the ball of the general manager to get the player to get in there, because he gets the money from what he's paying Dak, and he should be able to get some, or the fact that they can't develop the player to be as awesome as that on some of the players that they want to be. The guys are not, and they're not coached well, because they're good football players. They're just not coached well. So there's where the dropping between the general manager and coaching comes into play. I'm not putting it all on them, but a good 80% I'm going to put on the coaching in that, because of what they can what they can do.
By the way, the Cowboys are looking to franchise George Pickens, so he'll be here for another year.
Well, are they going to?
They're going to franchise tag him, and then they're going to take that time to negotiate a new contract for him. But that's the idea of keeping him there for next year at least, and then figuring out where he's going to go after that. So
I think that's when you hold the cards, and that's why and so top 5 of the if they do it that way, he's going to get CD Lamb money. But these are the guys that are free agents and where they can end up. Daniel Jones is going nowhere, by the way. He is their savior in Indianapolis, without question. The one I'm worried about is because I think, and listen, hate to admit it, but if the Jaguars lose Devin Lloyd, this is gonna hurt that football team major, and that's my football team. And I'm not trying to. If they keep him, you bet everybody needs to look out for the Jacksonville Jaguars next year.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
dude, your Super Bowl MVP is free. It's free to go somewhere too. You don't think his dollars went up?
Well, listen, I think the Pickens thing, it's more.
I mentioned
the signing of.
I know. I said Kenneth Walker III. He's your Super Bowl MVP, and he's a free agent now.
No, I understand what I know what Anthony's and I understand what Anthony says, because when you throw that tag on him, there's no future. That's just that year, and that has a tendency to piss people off, players, because there's no security after that year. Now, that also being said, George Pickens is going to get his money even after that year, regardless what year it is, because he's going to put up some strong numbers, and they may not be as great as they were last year or whatever the case may be. But I'll tell you this. Yeah, Anthony's right. Pissing off George Pickens is not the thing to do in reality. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt that relationship, and then you're going to see a DeMarcus Lawrence thing all over again.
Maybe
the guys that leave that are pissed off because they don't put their money where their mouth is when it regarding future. And these are some of the guys like Marcus Lawrence. I mean, and even going back to what's his name that went up to Denver, where they get those Super Bowl rings, they want that ring, and staying there isn't going to do them any good. So I don't know. Depending on who and what makes an offer on a George Pickens will probably depend on how he feels about getting that tag. Because when he gets that tag, and or if they do a sign and trade with him, there could be some stuff that works up with him. But George, I'm going to say it. George Pickens is lucky he's getting the consideration that he's getting, and it's all because of Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott's the one that's delivering the damn ball, so he should want to stay there. What I don't know if that's the top 5, 35 million. That's a lot of that is a lot of money. That's more than CD Lamb. That's more than CD Lamb.
That's where you have to kind of go to CeeDee Lamb and to Dak Prescott and say, guys, help us out a little bit here because we're going to bring him back. We want to keep him here, so in order to do that, we got to stretch you guys out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we'll see.
I don't know.
Especially if you need to rebuild your defense, because rebuilding defense ain't going to be cheap.
By the way, in the group, I'm going to have everybody, and if you can't come on the show, fine. But I want everybody to do a state of your football team video if you're not going to be on, or come on and do the state of the Cowboy. I'm going to do the state of the Jaguars, and how they are for next year. Because I want to find this right here. Where is it? Right here. There it is. The records from last year to this year. And looking at our football teams, okay, our teams right now, and these are the records of the top records of what we got going on here. Obviously, you don't see any Cleveland Browns there, but these are the top teams where they finished in 2024 to 2025 and where they ended. And your Dallas Cowboys right there about the same. The big change for the Chicago, that is a huge turnaround. I mean, my goodness, they won more than double games, 6 games more than what they did. Turning their franchise around. But look at where the Lions are. 15-2, a drop to 15-8 after they lose their coaches. I think that is huge. In Washington, that's a good point. The injuries were here, and the injuries came to the quarterback position as well. But look at the Arizona Cardinals from 8-9 to 3-4. No wonder they fired their head coach. But your Dallas Cowboys staying about the same, getting about the same amount of money. Coming in as a franchise. But the Eagles right there. The big loss on those 3 games were huge. I don't know what the state of the Eagles are, because I'll just put it in the ways that they almost don't have an identity anymore. I mean, I'm shocked that they were not in the NFC Championship game.
I wasn't, because towards the end of the year, they weren't playing very good football.
No, they weren't playing good football. And I also look at Jalen Hurts and find out and want to ask him what the hell his problem is. Because yes, A.J. Brown may be a total jerk. Okay, he is a total jerk. But that's your superstar. You got to get that guy the ball sometime. I'm not saying he should, I'll put it in the same thing as the Arizona Cardinals and Marvin Harrison. You got to get that guy the ball. He's your superstar. Why Jalen Hurts couldn't or wouldn't get him the ball is the biggest question. I think that is one of the reasons why you see the difference between the Eagles from last year winning the Super Bowl to where it is now. Is Jalen Hurts just not being reported Does he have the big hit? I don't know. There it is.
He is the most quiet. He's the most quiet leader they got on that team.
You've got, and I hate him. I can't stand AJ Brown, but I also recognize the talent. And you go back the year before that guy was all over AJ Brown, got him the ball. And listen, you got to get him the ball. And it's not Antonio Brown level because that guy's a freak of nature as far as a personality is concerned. AJ Brown's your atypical, little bit of a diva, and you deal with that because he's just that damn good.
He's Keyshawn Johnson.
And Jalen Hurt wasn't giving him the ball. And I don't know what that is. Is that a Jalen Hurt problem? Is that a AJ Brown problem? Is it an AJ Brown problem that's blown out of proportion, which is what I think it is, and I can't stand the guy. Okay, can't stand him. But I think it's blown out of proportion. They're taking what that is. It almost reminds me, if you go back to the day and you've seen it as far as Dallas, looking at T.O. These are guys that want the damn ball. They're that good. They can't all be Larry Fitzgerald being the class act all the time. But we have gotten to the day where old guys like me hate this, but have accepted that as part of the game now, to where you got to get your superstar the ball regardless how much their mouth flaps, and you don't want to see him on the team. And I think it's a dropping of the ball. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's Jalen Hurt. I don't even know if it's AJ Brown. I don't know. But somewhere within the fact that they just won the Super Bowl last year and they couldn't even crack the playoffs. That kind of dramatic change, I don't know where that comes from, because that's a good football team, period. And until you to week 11, they were still a good football team. Week 12 shows up, all of a sudden something changed in around week 12 for the Philadelphia Eagles to end up not making the freaking playoffs. And I don't think it had anything to do with injury.
Well, look how much Saquon Barkley was taking out of the offense. When he was taking out the offense completely, their season went to shit.
Say that again because I was in the middle of a breakup.
Okay. Saquon Barkley being taken out of the season, being taken out of the offense did not help. He was a big part of their offense last year. And it's just, unfortunately, this year, whether he was either he was injured or he was just not up to the task like he was last year. It was almost like he was trying to show the doubters, no, I can play. And he did last year. This past year came around and he's like, I did that last year. I'm not saying he took it easy, but I'm saying the play calls did not go his way like they did the year before.
I see that because I watched the damn game. I did see that.
Yeah.
But so outside of that, and that's a good point. I don't want to take away from the point. It's a good point, because if you look at the Eagles like they were last year, not this year, but last year, you've seen the impact that guy had. So, like you said, why he wasn't doing it, why we're not seeing the same Saquon Barkley from last year to this year, it's a good question.
Dude, his performance the year before helped set up the pass for Jalen Hurts. When you took that away from him, Jalen Hurts was sitting there scrambling all over the place and throwing picks left and right because he didn't have the running game. Now,
and even at that point, as far as a red herring is concerned, that didn't work either. I think you're right. I think it was hurt, and they couldn't use it enough as a red herring because no one was worried about Saquon Barkley based upon maybe the injury report that we don't always see as well, too. Could have been something along that route. And if I interrupt you, I didn't do that on purpose. I'm now all of a sudden going into breaking up here.
Also wrong, yeah. Dick
But
move you were.
anyway,
No.
that's I'm really interested in what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. How they bounce back from whatever had happened at week 12. So I don't know.
You are paying your quarterback a lot to hand the ball off, and that's probably not what you want to pay your quarterback to do. But if it helps your team win the game, and if it helps structure your offense to where you can utilize your receivers and your tight end a lot more because you have a running game, then yeah, you're paying him top dollars to manage that whole situation. Remember, a quarterback is not just to be there to be the guy who throws the ball all the time. He's got to run the offense to how he sees on the field, because the coaches and the offense and the coordinators can see what they see, but he's the guy on the field who's got to call the audibles if needed. He's got to call some of the plays on the line. And if he sees that they shut down the running gap, so I got to go to the pass, if he relies on that too much, his game went to shit. And
he's got to be able to recognize it fast enough at the line as well. That could be a problem that we don't necessarily know.
He has to know what's behind. He has to know what's behind him. Can Saquon get around his corner? Can Saquon get around the end? Can Saquon get through the middle? Can I do a play where I put Saquon out to the outside, throw him a quick screen pass, and go for 15 yards?
I get you. Yep, that's a good point too.
But he played this year like he didn't have that kind of confidence in this year.
I think when we see things like that, I think there's an injury that people are not talking about or realizing how much of an effect that it is happening on Saquon. Because you're right in the fact that when you don't have, I know it makes you feel so good. But Anthony,
right?
You don't necessarily pay this quarterback just to sit there and hand the ball off. At the same time, there was no production at the position in reality to open up the game to where he can be that passing quarterback. I don't think the running game just wasn't there after week 10, 11, somewhere in there. I pinpointed it once and I got it written down. But I noticed the change as far as that is concerned, whether it was injury, different philosophy, or Jalen Hurts just not playing well. Parts of me wants to put a little blame on Jalen Hurts for not being able to recognize what can work. And during this point of where he is in his career, he should be able to recognize what may or may not work, whether that's talking to the coach or calling the audible at the line. And I think that's where we missed out on. And I love Jalen Hurts. I think he could be one of the best quarterbacks in this league. But I think his indecisiveness really hurt the football team. And I don't know where that indecisiveness came from. Because it wasn't the same as last year. Two total different football teams starting in week 10 to week 18 than we've seen from the year and a half before that. Just different, and fall off the face of the earth, almost Dallas Cowboy-like. Maybe it had something to do with it.
I didn't hear you.
I don't know. Oh, I said maybe it has something to do with the division, with them falling off the way they did. That's kind of what the NFC East does. So, anyway.
It's a downtime.
Well, we did 3 hours. We're lucky it didn't break up all through the damn thing. So I didn't catch the end of that. It was probably very, very philosophy, driven and everything else.
I'm here for you people.
I'm just going to, just take it as that. So since we are at the end of the show, we're now on dial-up.
When is that going to change?
In 4 weeks. 4 weeks.
Can we get there?
Because here's what it is. Where I live, they have an internet provider that is just got off, but it's a contracted and you can't bring anybody else in. So I'm get around with a thing. And the big big leagues don't cover this area, so I'm going to have to go a different route. So I'm going to figure it out, and it's going to take about a week, but I'll have it all figured out because this is driving me nuts. But it is what it is. But
it's really been
3 hours on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Off from 3 to 6 Central Standard Time. And let's see here. I got another. Yeah. All right. So there we go. That having been said, after that, that's where we are. We'll go ahead and call it a day. Always good to be on with the Podfather on a fine evening. And I had Anthony for a lot of it. And so, yeah. I don't know. She's not even here. And this is. Now, it don't help probably that I got 10 pages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 10 pages open. It probably not helping the
look, this is what you need to do.
I guess I got to be a little bit smart.
Listen, Sonny, go on social media. Tell everybody in your area, guys, get off your fucking phones, okay? I got this. Give me 3 hours.
I got news for you. I closed down these windows and now it's running pretty smooth. Maybe that's it. I just got to close some of these damn windows. So, that being said, we're done with it. We will check it again. 3 to 6 now, off season. It gives me time to where I don't have to get up, and then when I get up, I don't have to immediately jump into it. So, yeah, it's all about me. If there is a time though that it doesn't work for you, let me know. I might be willing to change the time if it doesn't work for
this
you.
Actually works because
you got Sunday.
This actually works because, like, if we close the show down now, if I had Cooper with me, I'd take him home to his mom's, and I'd be getting home late, but at least he'd have the entire day here, so that'd be kind of cool.
There you go. So, all right, so that's going to do it for us on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We'll check next week. And I got a lot more stuff that we didn't talk about. We will just bring it in. I got some stuff now for next week. We'll obviously find out the news that's going on. And it doesn't football. We'll try to find something to talk about. NBA's on
some AI stuff,
and they've been that way for a while.
Do you want me to keep sending some AI stuff?
You broke up the whole time. Say it again.
Do you want me to keep sending you some AI stuff?
Yeah, I like seeing it. It's just it's not the fact I didn't have time. I just didn't want to do it because I wanted to take a nap more times than anything. But I'll try. I'll try to bring a little bit more of those into it because those are funny, by the way. Just so you know. So that's going to do it for us here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Have a good week, and we will check in next time here on the Couch Potato Sports. 17 years. You can say you've been a part of it there. Podfather. We're out of here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.